Great. Awesome. So welcome everybody. I know we have a lot of people from different offices. We're also broadcasting all the way to Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. So we have all the division right now watching us. So for the people who don't know me, my name is Paola Lindemann. If it's easier for you, you can just call me Pao. Okay, I'm the pilot sales manager here in Fort Lauderdale. And I'm very excited for you guys. This is a very important meeting and in just very busy schedule. This is probably one of the most important meetings he runs. I've seen Mr. Gamboa run multiple meetings from the 5 years I've been here in Cutco. And this is definitely my favorite meeting. We're gonna be talking about a little bit about sales, leadership, advancement position, how to get more recommendations, and a lot of things that can really build your career here. So this is definitely congratulations to you for being invited to our first SLDM of the summer. Congratulations for all the people in Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. So I want to give you confidence in not only the meeting and the information you're going to be receiving today, but I also want to give you confidence in Mr. Gamboa, our division manager. Just so you know a little bit about him and how he started. He started at 19 years old as a pre-med major in the University of Maryland. Okay? In his fast start, he was recommended. How many of you were recommended to the position? Nice. Okay. So some of you know, most of you are in this fast start. So in Mr. Gamboa's first 10 days, he sold over $15,000. Okay, and he in those first 10 days, he made over $3,600 in those first 10 days. Also, in his first month, he got all the promotions and commissions a rep can get in our company. So that's very impressive. And he was #1 in the whole company of all the students in 1997. He made over $27,000 in his first 3 months. So for some of you, I know that's like a light bulb going on. So obviously, Mr. Gamboa can teach you not only how to make a lot of money, but make it fast, which is also something important. So with his career, he went in to go to what we call the Leadership Academy. That you'll be learning a little bit more about that. You probably heard about it in the training. He went to be an assistant manager. Then he went to do his internship that we have here that's called the branch manager. He had his own office and run the show, just like some of you are actually from a branch office. You get, like, for example, we have Andrew Evans, we have Luke Maseko that are running their branch offices. So Mr. Gamboa did the same thing. And he was #1 in his division, top 5 in the region, and top 30 in the company. Okay, so definitely a really great career. With that success, he went to become what we call the district manager, which is a full-time career with us. And he did so well, he was #1 in the whole company, winning what we call a silver cup, which is practically the biggest trophy we have in our company. He did so great as a district manager. He went up to be a division manager, which he took care of Delaware, DC, and Maryland. Okay? With that, he went from the division that was probably at the low part of the divisions to one of the top 10 in the whole company. And then he was asked to take his talents down to Florida, which we really didn't have a leadership in our division. And he's been able to take this division and bring it up to some division that didn't have a leadership. So to definitely one of the greatest divisions we have currently in a region. So this is somebody that was really going to deliver a lot of information. And if there's one thing I know about Mr. Gamboa, if you're enthusiastic, if you're taking a lot of notes, if you're participating, he can not only give you all the information, but he can teach you how to get all these things that he's got himself. So please, a big round of applause to Mr. Gamboa.
All right. What's up? Yeah? Let's fill in the seats. I don't bite, usually. Depends on how. Okay, good. We have representation in Puerto Rico and in the Virgin Islands. So we also have representation heavily from Metro Miami, South Miami, all the way on the West Coast of Florida, in Fort Myers, I believe. Of course, here the home pilot, and thanks for the warm applause. Before we get started, just something I cover in my personal training seminar. Kayla, Janine, you've seen this. Jonathan, I didn't train you, but you should see this pretty soon. Is that one of the things that will really give you the most from coming all the way to Fort Lauderdale today is that you're 100% engaged, right? And not 90%, 80%, because I think getting 100% from this meeting requires a lot of effort from the group. And I think that's why we also don't invite everyone. So because you're here, I just want to share with you a couple thoughts that I think are really important for people who are going to get the most from this meeting. But this meeting is an SLDM. What's the L stand for? leadership. And you'll see very soon, this meeting is not about just selling a lot, but you will sell a lot after this meeting. I was speaking to Kayla the other day. Kayla said, I want all the information as fast as possible. And we're going to give you a lot of the information today. In fact, this isn't advanced training. This is like advanced training on steroids, is what this meeting is. This is not advanced training from your manager. This is direct sales training from the division manager, and the stuff that from my office we don't give in the normal training. So that's what this is. So number one, 100% engaged means that you seek just the best practices, not what you think works well, but what is proven to be the best of the best. Okay, so that's what we're going to do today. And what's great about doing that is you don't have to be guessing, and it gives you a lot of confidence that, all right, well, I'm being taught the best of the best, and that's why you're here today. The second thing you can look forward to, and really to show that you're engaged, is just being hungry for growth. And if you're from my office, what's the one thing I always say? People who are hungry for growth are always what? Doing what? At every meeting, every time there's something being said, any instruction, what do I expect our group to do every training? Grow and do what with the information that you hear? Use it, and more importantly, write it down. Right? I can tell when there's the I'm just listening group, and I can tell when there's the I'm engaged, and I'm going to take this, and I'm going to leave and sell a signature right after I leave. I'm going to leave and hit my $6,000 promotion right after I leave the meeting. I'm going to leave and then hit my $10,000 right after the meeting, and so forth and so forth. And then number three, this meeting is designed to give you personal clarity so that you leave here not just excited about selling kitchen cutlery, because in and of itself, that is not the objective of this meeting or the summer job. If that's what you're excited about, I think that's really weird. I really do. I think that if you're fired up, Grant, and you said, I'm just here because of the knives, I think Luke might have sent the wrong people, even though the knives are the best. We know that. But this meeting is about way more than just the kitchen cutlery and about the cookware and all those wonderful things you can sell. So I'm really looking for you guys to be engaged by actively participating. So can I get your verbal participation today and your active participation? Yes? Yes. Okay, awesome. Wonderful. So I want to welcome you to the SLDM. You can write down Sales Leadership Development Meeting. Welcome to our Sales Leadership Development Meeting, SLDM. If you haven't met me personally, my name is Jeff Gamboa, and I'm proud to say that I'm the division manager of our Florida Caribbean division. In our company, we have over 400 plus offices nationwide that do the same thing. We all recruit college students to work with the world's finest set of cutlery and have a wonderful selling experience. But today's meeting is to expand your horizons so that you see beyond just the selling opportunity. Also, we want to help you sell more to hopefully earn those spots for us. And I know a couple of you, I was talking to Brandon, and we've been going back and forth, but Brandon already knows about our assistant manager opportunities, and that's something he's really excited to earn. I'm going to share that with you today. I have 3 objectives I'd love you to get down for our meeting. There are a lot of things I could be doing right now. It's the busiest time of the year. Your managers need a lot of attention. But there's no bigger priority in my schedule right now from 11 until 3 o'clock on Tuesday than to meet with this group and the people that are Skyping in or broadcasting in right now. Here's why. Because number one, our goal in this next 3 hours or so is to dramatically increase your sales. And not just to increase moderately. The key word is dramatic. Big move in sales. I want you to be able to go back to your office, have your biggest sales week in one day. That's the kind of sales I want you to have from here. I want you to be able to leave this. I believe Luke left this meeting having already hit 2 or 3 promotions, and he sold what he did in a whole weekend that night. Like, those are the types of results we want. Back in 1997, compared to the averages, I had the privilege of working in the same cut for training. 1997, I was this 19-year-old, needing a little bit of polished college student, but a lot of fun, probably too much fun. But I was a really good student. I worked really hard. I played sports, not good enough like my family to play in college, but good enough to play on teams. And I never had a real job before. I used to babysit. I used to cut grass. Okay? And I worked at my church. That was it. I was talking to, I worked at my church in the youth part of our church community. That was it. I never had a real paying job because none of my jobs paid taxes. It was all cash under the table. So not really technically, even according to the government, a real job. So I got into Cutco. A friend recommended me. My first summer, Pal gave some stats, not to impress you, but to show you that in my first 10 days, I did sell the 10K, in fact, the 15K fast start. So I was able to make $3,500 in 10 days. And that was really life-changing money for me, having been the student that never made more than $1,000 cutting grass in the summer. So to make that times 3.5, that was pretty cool. My first summer as a 19-year-old college student, I was able to make enough money to pay my own tuition And I'm coming from a really blessed family where money was not an issue and school was taken care of. But what a sweet feeling to say, hey, Dad, I got tuition this year. And he looked at me kind of like I was crazy. He said, you're really going to pay tuition? I said, Dad, I really have the money and I'm going to contribute this year. And that just opened up. And of course, my dad loved Cutco at that point. The greatest job ever. Okay. So I want to dramatically increase your Cutco sales. The average order in our company, our office knows this, is $300 or more, give or take. Okay? My average order was $998. That was back in 1997. The homemaker cost $680. What's the homemaker plus that cost now? So double, meaning that just due to inflation, the prices were half the price, and I had a $1,000 average order back then. So I'm going to share those things with you today. I didn't average 5 to 10 recommendations. I usually got about 20 to 21, 21 to 22 every time I met with a customer. And I'm going to share that with you today. I also did really well on the phone. I always had a lot of appointments. My schedule was always booked. When it was booked, it was really booked. And when it was free and I was off, I was really free and I was really off. And I know that's kind of a hard concept sometimes when you have a job where you make your own appointments. And I want to teach you that so that you know that this is, and when we say this is the greatest opportunity for an undergraduate student. And in fact, we have so many different documents and studies and newspaper articles, magazine profiles of college students that need money and that need experience. The best job right now is working for Cutco. And we're excited. We have a lot of adults and professionals in the community who are directing their students and their daughters and children and sons to us because of the type of experience we know we can give. So we want to help you dramatically increase your sales. Number 2, we want to educate you on future opportunities. Right now, your future opportunities entail hitting 15%, 20%, 25, 30%. But we want to educate you on what might happen as quickly as this week with getting a key staff invitation, maybe getting invited to our 10K Alliance so you can join the best of the best from our division and hit high sales for the big SC1 conference push. Or maybe it means at the end of the summer, you're getting an interview with me to get into our Leadership Academy. And who knows, maybe 1 year from now, you could be that person, just like the sign says, sell one summer and then teach the next summer. And I think what's really cool, can they hear me? Yeah, okay. What's really cool is that we have opportunities for you to increase your movement into the company. My goal is to hopefully get a light bulb to go off today for you. A light bulb that says, I could do this for 2 or 3 more summers till I graduate. I could come back, work part-time during the school year, and then come back here and really get some great experience. And then number 3 is to identify leaders who can play a role for 2017 and beyond. For 2017 and beyond. I want to welcome you to the Florida Caribbean Division. With all the offices in South Florida, the island of Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands. And if you're from a Florida Caribbean office, you can expect not just the selling Cutco experience, but you can expect a couple of things. All of our offices are really, really, really focused on delivering the following. Number 1, an experience that's truly professional, right? So when you walk into the office, we expect a professional atmosphere, and you'll see our students are the best of the best. And many of your managers have yet to even hit 21. Yet I deem them as some of the more professional people, I would say, in the community, based on how they carry themselves. Those of you that come from Luke's office, Luke is not even 20, right? And he's one of the most polished people, not students, people that I know. And I love that he's grown that through our experience here with Cutco. 2, explosive team building. We love building the team. We love having representatives join us and help to build our office. Yesterday, Kayla from our new group, she just finished up her first weekend, sold about $6,000 her first weekend. So she's made a grant since Saturday. And she's recommending tons and tons of her friends. And that's how we love to build our community from students within the team. So we hope you join that. And of course, there's some really cool prizes which you know about, including the trip to, Puerto Rico to Mexico, which all of our managers will be going to. High standards of sales performance. There's a conference called SC1, which I'll mention later on. But there's a big push period for 2 weeks where we're going to go on a selling frenzy in an effort to not just earn prizes, but to make a statement and set the summer off on fire with momentum. And what I love about it is that this meeting gives you a significant advantage for that push period, which starts at the end of the month. So we'll talk about that. And then finally is aggressive pursuit of growth. What I love about our students here in FC is that we get a lot of students coming back and raving about the personal growth experience. Those that get into Leadership Academy, learning about finances and leadership, professional attire, things that sometimes in college we don't even learn. And we're excited to be able to deliver that to you here with your experience. I travel often to Puerto Rico for the offices, and I also travel north because I'm originally a Baltimore guy. And my family's up there. My soon-to-be fiance also lives up there in her fellowship for medicine. So I'm I guess, jet setter, if you will, except I'm not Instagramming and looking like a rap star on social media. More so because I travel often to the point where I know the attendance, flight attendants. You know you travel a lot when, hey, Jeff. It's like, oh, man. So I saw this one year, and I thought this is really how we love to carry our team. And those of you that are athletes or come from an elite school can really relate to this, where the standards here beat the extras. And I'm very proud to say that my job is not, I'm not a Cutco knife selling trainer, although I've taught you guys how to sell live. I'm not even the knife manager, I would say. What I love saying is that I'm responsible for developing the youth. And I know it seems so, right? Oh, well, what are you talking about? But you guys represent 18 to 25-year-olds, which represents about 2 to 5% of the North American community. So I would say you guys are really pretty impactful in the community. And if we can get to you, get you skills and get you moving ahead of the curve and get you better resume experience, and when you graduate and all of you get those jobs within your majors easier, and all of you are getting the highest job offers, maybe some of you are choosing a career with us, we don't know, but because you're the best of the best in your field, and you link back and you say, you know what, I spent 2 or 3 summers with Cutco, and that's made all the difference, then I think we impact the community. My job doing this is now 20 summers now. Why I love doing this is one day I want everyone to say, you know, when I work with Cutco, that's why I am a fill in the blank, doctor, church community. I mean, you name it, and we have a lot of people that are doing it. It's really cool to see. In fact, one of our reps, Matt, who just finished training, the junior in high school, his dad sold Cutco in 1975, 1977, and he said, oh, that's the Cutco job? Okay, you have to do that job. Luke Maseko, your branch manager, Luke said, I need to find a job, Dad. And he said, oh, I know a job because there's a college kid that came over to our house one year, sold us some stuff, and I like that training. I like that product. You're going to do that job. It wasn't really an option, actually, for Luke. Luke's dad said, you're going to do that job because it'll help you in the future. And I can tell you Luke's one of the more prominent people and most experienced people in his school, his college, and his community. So, National Sales Report. This is going to come out today, and you're going to see this at your Wednesday team meeting tomorrow. You just started Saturday. Your first team meeting is tomorrow night, right after advanced training. If you just started last week, you've already been to a Wednesday team meeting. I'm really proud to say that the FC is really on the rise. You'll see, in fact, I believe our Metro Miami office, those of you from Andrew's office, is going to be on the National Sales Report this week. Those of you from the Bulk office, I believe, are going to be on the National Sales Report. That means out of 200 to 300 branch offices run by college students, our Bulk office and our Metro Miami office are going to be 2 of the top 20 in the whole country this week. That's really cool. And not that competition is the only thing, but we're really good at being competitive. How about that? Okay. Our pilot office here in Fort Lauderdale, we're probably going to be ranked one of the top 20 offices in sale in the whole country this week, and it's thanks to our efforts. So you'll see, great place to be. And I take these pictures back. I like going back. This one was, I think, 4 years ago. This is an SLDM in 2012. This is Patience Ellett graduating from high school over in the Fort Myers, Naples area. He had just graduated from high school, came to this meeting, only sold about $1,000 to get barely into this meeting. She left this meeting, went on to sell $10,000 the rest of the week, and hit her VIP night from the tips from this meeting. This is one of my favorites. This is Luis Ocio and a variety of other students who work with us, coming right from the SLDM, and all 4 of them hit their 10K fast start. Now, if you're already out of your fast start, obviously that's over, but at the same time, these are the types of explosive results that we're really excited for you to gain. And the most important thing I want you to get from us is what we call the M3PG experience. Who's heard that from your manager? M3PG experience, okay? And I'd like you to write this down because really this is what it's all about for us. It's not the knives, although the knives are awesome. It's not just the money, although we're going to help you create some tremendous income, maybe even 5-figure club for some of you, where you make $10,000 or more for the summer. But it's about the experience. We want this to be the most powerful professional and personal growth experience. Like I said, and if I could go around, I'm just curious, some of your, if you already know kind of a track that you're on, aspirations of what you want to be, what you want to do, and not that I can't change, but does anyone have anything you want to share? I'm just curious. If you know, going to, we say, what school, what major, what you want to do?
I did Presbyterian. The major, is political science, and I'd like to be a judge.
I could see you as a judge. Right? Awesome. Hannah?
I go to UF, and I'm majoring in pre-med and OBGYN.
I'll let Heidi talk to you. She'll give you some thoughts. Great.
I'm Grant. I'm going to be attending Indiana University. fall, and I hope to get an MBA in finance and CPA in accounting, and eventually go into the New York Stock Exchange.
There you go. Great story. One of our students from West Broward Prep, Marquise Wright, went to Georgetown University. He's the wide receiver for Georgetown University. And took his experience, I don't know if Luke already told you the story, and applied from not just Georgetown University, but every Division I college in the country applied for a 50-person acceptance New York Stock Exchange internship. And he was one of only 50 accepted. And they said on his interview, this Cutco experience is unlike anything we've ever seen before. He's one of only 50 students nationwide, so no pressure.
Yeah.
But I think that's really cool. Good point.
I'm Kayla. I go to Florida State University, and my major is interior design, and I want to do residential design.
There you go. And you want to probably run your own business doing it. Awesome. So I could probably go around, doctors, lawyers, engineers, judges, some great future aspirations. Maybe you don't know what you want to do. Here's what I do know. We want to be that experience that serves as a rocket ship to get there, or create an option for you here, one of the two. And if we can do that, I think we've done a great job with you. I want you to write down TLA. You know, the cool kids are doing this pound sign thing called hashtag, right? No, I know it is. I'm cool with them. Kind of. TLA, which stands for the Leadership Academy. The Leadership Academy is our version of corporate management and leadership sales training. What it is, it's our version of developing high-level, executive-level leadership and personal skills. And what it is, it's a flexible program that is not a physical school, but it's a program where whether a student's all the way in Indiana University or down the street at Barry, or really down the street at Broward Community College, doesn't matter where they go to school, what their major is, if they get accepted, we're going to put them through a program that's both virtual and live. And these sessions allow personal growth. What we do is we teach things from personal skills to business skills to life skills in an effort to help students progress with the company. But also, this is our trademark experience. This is what Entrepreneur Magazine and the Wall Street Journal and you name it are mentioning when they refer to this being an elite college student experience for resumes and for personal experience. One of the things we're excited about is being competitive. Right now, we're a small rebuilding division with a very small amount of managers, but we're still competing at a national level from sales. Why? Because we just have some great people on our team, including your managers. So what I want to do real quick before we take our first break is I want to cover what we call the steps of the vector opportunity. And I'm going to hand out this sheet. And if you're broadcasting in, okay, you notice there's multiple copies. Just to let you know, it starts with the packet's about 4 or 5 pages. Okay. We'll distribute this. Come back. Is it ready? It wasn't in hands I emailed to you the first time?
I can check.
Yeah. I mean, if at this point it's not ready now, it's just going to hold back the whole meeting. So what I'd like you to do, and if you don't have the packet, you're simply just going to take notes if you're broadcasting. Can I borrow the packet? Let me just show you. So it starts off with this page. Okay. And that's what we're going to teach you, and we're going to cover all the instruction on the packet. But before we go on that, I'd like you to go to your notebooks, and I just want to cover all the different levels of advancement that are available to our company. I'm actually going to print out a version of it and hand it to you guys during the break. So you can just list them off, number 1, right? So put number 1 being here. I think being here is the most important thing because you can't advance with the company unless you get onto the division manager's radar. And that's how I put a name to the face. Many of you have texted me before you even knew who the heck I was. And I think that's great because now I can put a name to the face. And these meetings will consistently put you on my radar and give you a chance to advance with the company. So congrats on being here. You had to be at a certain amount of sales or you had to have permission from your manager. So being here says your manager believes in you, I believe in you, and we're excited to support you as you move on towards the beginning of your summer here. Second thing I'll have you write down is key staff. Key staff. Key staff is the VIP team captain version of our office. So every office has a key staff program. Now, many of you are in an office that's just starting the last 1 or 2 weeks. So here's what's great. Your opportunity is that you can be the first members of the key staff. Key staff gets extra attention each week. They get an extra meeting of training and sales. Also, these are the people who get first dibs for Leadership Academy interviews. So how do you get on key staff? Well, first of all, you have to be at least over 3,000 in sales to qualify. So if you're already over that, make sure you mention to your manager if you're interested, hey, how do I get promoted officially to that key staff program? Number 2, you have to have a positive attitude. Our key staff members have the best attitude. They're the most positive, the most helpful. They're team players, they're leaders. All of your respective managers were key staff at some point early in their career. And then, of course, you have to ask your manager. The key is asking. What I would write down next to key staff is I would write down the next 10 days. The goal, leaving this meeting, is can you get invited to a key staff meeting or promoted to key staff here in the next 10 days? The second is FSL and FSM. And what that means, and I'll put this on the board. When you get to Dirty 30, it's $10,000 in sales, you now earn 30% of commission. And I say this in my office all the time. This is where you can then start to work part-time, but you'll earn what? Full-time. Or you can keep working full-time and earn big time. And Luke talks about that. He's from my office, so he says it all the time. And I just want to talk about that for a second, because even though this is about advancement, there's nothing like being a student and being able to work part-time but make full-time. Money's not the most important thing, but when you don't have to worry about it, it's really good. And that's something we want to provide for you. As you know, if you get into a leadership academy and run an office, our cumulative sales can take you all the way to 50% of commission. This is the big time money for our students. This 50% at some point, we'll cover those details later, that can be game changing. That's the type where I have students that will pay their own tuition like I did back in 1997. These are students that will purchase or invest in their own mode of transportation. These are my students that put 5 figures away for the year and are able to invest that at a young age, 19, 20, 21 years old. And if you're in the finance, you know the power of investing young and investing often. That can be really great for your future. So we're going to talk more about that. But I would say by the end of the summer, can you get minimum 30-30? And here's why this gets exciting. Let's say you're 30%. I was doing this, I think, with Kayla the other day. If you're 30-30, you can do what I would call a Robbie Mathis move. Robbie Mathis is one of our students from St. Thomas Aquinas. I just graduated last week or 2 weeks ago from Northeastern University in Boston. And during the school years, he wouldn't do Cutco more than maybe 2 or 3 days of selling a week just to make his own income. During the summers, Robbie would come back and he'd have to make between $10,000 and $15,000 to pay for school, and he would do it. He would just come back and sell full time and make $10,000 to $15,000. Here's what's really cool. On the weekends, he would do about 5 appointments. And most of these were up in Boston. His customers are here, so he would do them virtually. So in the convenience of his own dorm room, in his boxers, in his pajamas, in his sweatpants, he would sit there, call the customer, line up appointments for the weekend. He would do 1 on Friday before he went out, 2 on Saturday after he woke up later, and then, bless you, 2 on Sunday, you're welcome. 5 appointments, roughly 3 or 4 sales. His average order was a lot higher. So he was selling about $1,500 on the weekend doing that. And he makes half. So he was making about $750 doing 4 appointments a week during school with 18 credits, great GPA, and just what an awesome time. And if money is of interest to you and being able to support yourself or invest or save money, I think this is one of the main reasons you want to do this now, because it pays off later when you get to school. Or you can keep going. What if you decided to do 10 appointments a week around classes because you decided to make the time? That's a bigger income, probably a higher average order. That's where our students can make a comma in their paycheck for the week. And it's not a summer job, it's a weekly part-time job. And I did this in college, and let me tell you, this was awesome. I make enough money for books in a week. And if you've purchased books before, you know what that means, right? It's a big deal. Okay. Next thing is assistant manager intern. We have several of you vying for position for this. What we're looking to do is promote 30 to 50 assistant managers by our June 14th SC1 conference. In Puerto Rico, it's going to be June 29th. This summer, we're looking to promote 30 to 50 of these individuals. And what that is someone who's going to dabble and learn a little bit about our assistant manager training. They haven't gone through Leadership Academy, but what they're able to do is do things like run interviews with the company. They're able to work with reps, handle the finances of the office, just to get that experience. And I think it's a great thing to shoot for. I would say we're looking for many people, even in this room, to be part of that team. So if you're interested in advancing quickly and you don't want to wait till this fall or next summer to advance, tell your manager, hey, I'd be interested in earning an assistant position by SC1. Let your manager know. Official assistant managers, we do have some positions that will be filling up for the fall and for the spring. Even if you go to school away, let's say Indiana, Florida State, UF, what part? What part? Florence. How far's Columbia? Yep, in Columbia office. In the Columbia office, we do have assistant office positions available in those offices too. So if you're interested, I would put down next to that by the fall or spring, maybe. I would say you never know. And then our premier advancement opportunity, and this, my friends, I'll tell you, when I think of students who get the jobs that they want after college, when I think of the students who call me for a letter of recommendation and always have the most tremendous interviews, they always refer to this position. It's called branch manager. We have an acronym for people who get into branch manager. It's called Taking the Leap. A branch manager is a college student who will go through a leadership academy, and then before the summer is given a territory where they will open up their own Cutco franchise for 4 months. Gives them a chance to be the boss, the CEO, the human resources, the sales manager, the direct manager, and they essentially run a business from scratch with the financial support of the company, their own financial backing, and it's an unbelievable real-life business experience. In fact, three of you come from branch offices. Andrew Evans is doing it for a second time. He goes to Florida State. This is his second time running a branch office. Last year in Boca, this year in Metro Miami. And of course, Luke, who just started 2 summers ago, last year he was an assistant, and this year he's now running all of Boca Raton, Florida. Yeah, it's outstanding experience. If you're into leadership, standing apart, calling the shots, being the boss, branch is awesome. It's like running your own type of business, maybe like interior design, if you will. Experience. I can tell you, I don't know a single resume I've seen that can beat maybe a 10%. I don't know many people that can beat branch experience on the resume when they graduate. I know when I graduated from college, I applied 15 different places, 3 med schools, because I was a pre-med major, 3 grad schools, 3 business schools, and 6 sales positions. Of the 15, all 15 accepted me for position. Only 3 asked me my major, and only 2 asked me my GPA. And that was really, really frustrating because I worked really hard to get a really high GPA and a really fancy major, which was pre-med, but it just sounded way fancy. It was neurobiology, physiology. It sounds fancy, doesn't it? It's pre-med. But I wanted it to be extra fancy because I thought that would get me into med school. And clearly, my GPA didn't even get me into med school, but every one of my interviews, including the medical interviews, which have nothing to do with sales, asked me about being a branch manager and what that meant. And I simply said, well, I, number one, wanted to get people's attention because anyone can work at a hospital, anyone can volunteer, anyone can do the things that all pre-med majors do, but I wanted to stand out. Did it work? And they all said, yeah, we were very interested. I said, number 2, I don't want to work for a hospital. I want to run my own practice. My father was a physician. He had 2 of his own private practices, and I wanted to follow in his footsteps. And I watched my dad. He was never reporting to anyone. He was the boss. When he wanted to take time with the family and take a 2-week vacation, he would shut the office down, no patients, and we'd take a 2-week vacation, go on a cruise, and that was the coolest life ever. And I really wanted to do that too, but I knew I needed business skills. So that's why branch manager for me was really big for resume. Number 3 is adventure. We have our branch program where students will get a chance to move out of the house for a summer and open up their own place, get an apartment, move to a different part of the state. In some cases, we do branch abroad. Esteban, who you'll meet, one of our assistants, started in this office, was a sales rep, became a branch manager, and did branch abroad. For those of you that love to travel, branching abroad combines traveling and get the experience of immersion. You guys are familiar with the term immersion? When you want to learn Spanish, what do? Get dropped off in Spain, yeah, right? Or Cuba, Brazil, and wherever you guys are from. But it combines immersion of language and culture with running a business. So how about that for experience? In fact, Esteban ran an office in Ponce, Puerto Rico. So he got a chance to run the whole town, Caguas rather. So Caguas, Puerto Rico, the entire town of Caguas, Puerto Rico is run by that 20-year-old young man who's now a junior at Washington University. So adventure. And of course, personal growth. Stretching capacity, the ability to work with people, doing things that most 18, 19, and 20-year-olds aren't doing. That's doing real-life business things, real-life leadership skills, real-life business acumen, if you will. So Branch manager is awesome. I did it. I did it when I was 19 years old before my senior year, 20 years old before my senior year of college, and it has made all the difference. It gave me so much confidence, and I necessarily didn't think I'd be here. This is now my 20th summer. I certainly didn't think I would be with Cutco now for almost 21 years. But I did see myself being with Cutco for college, and that's why I really wanted to maximize this. I'll put down we're only looking for the best of the best, and we're looking to promote 15 to 20 branch managers next summer. And even if you're here right now and just started Saturday, if you do the right things, you could get an interview for Leadership Academy, you could go through our training program, and you might be running a branch office 1 year from today. We don't know who. Okay? And then last but not least is Pal's position. Last two. Bless you. It's like the sneezing side of you. Pilot sales manager. I put a question mark. That's Paola's job. That's reserved for the #1 highest trained, most experienced person in the entire Florida Caribbean division that's not a career manager. And Paola is better than everyone else. She's the best of the best, and that's why she's in charge of this specific office. Because when I leave for my responsibilities to all the other offices, when I have to visit the Broke office or go to the Doral office or go to, at some point, Fort Myers, it's really important for me to have someone at home who's going to produce. And right now, this is the #1 office in the division, one of the top in the region, and it's because of Paola, and I'll mention that. So I would put question mark, you never know. Some of you are thinking, man, Jeff, I was just looking for a summer job. You're telling me I might be here. And I would say you never know. You never know when that light bulb will go off for you. And the last thing, I do have to at least mention our district position. I'm very passionate about our district position. I think it's an awesome leverage and stepping stone for people when they graduate, either as a stepping stone for another career, or if they don't know what they want to do and love the culture here. District manager is not a college student running an office. It's for someone who's out of school that has graduated, or maybe school's not for them, and for someone who wants to run a year-on operation. We have 3 types of district managers. One, who kind of do it for 2 or 3 years until they figure out what they want to do with their life after college, while they're able to save a lot of money, get a lot of experience. Some people use it as a stepping stone, very much like an MBA program, where they'll go for 2 years and then apply. And in some cases, people do it as a career because they really love the position. I definitely didn't do this as a career. I did it because I wanted to be able to pay for med school and not have any debt. And it turned from that into, here I am 20 years later. So I don't really have time. That's another meeting to cover the district position. But I asked all of the district managers, and I polled them. And these were some of the big responses of what they loved about being a district year-round manager with Cutco. #1, they felt like they loved the fact that they were a self-business owner. #2, developer of people. One of the great things about working with young people is that it's a very high-energy atmosphere. I'm very happy to say that I'm 38 years old, and I know I don't look like my other 38-year-old friends because I'm around young people, not old people. I think that says a lot. You know, you ever hear the saying, man, they've aged a lot since you've seen them. And I think it's who you hang out with, it's who you associate with. I mean, I certainly am not hashtagging or Snapchatting like you guys, but being around this youth, being around these types of people who are energized, people who are trying to impact the community, it's a really big deal. I'm gonna go back to this. Flexibility, because they call their own shots. Our district managers love to travel. That's a big culture in our office. That's why we're trying to send you to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, just by recommending your friends, because every year we do 2 to 4 trips that are paid for by the company. But we've traveled the world. It's also for the performers. So it's really cool to travel, work hard, and play hard. And of course, big income, and then ultimate leadership. And we don't know. I would say put a question mark next to that. You don't know. Okay? So what I would say, my goal before we take our first break here is to spark some type of a light bulb for you. So I'd like to get some feedback just on everything that we've covered so far, because the next part of the training of the meeting here is now to teach you how to earn it and how to sell more. But what are some of the things that stand out? What's getting you excited either that you didn't know about before or you knew about but you have more clarity on? So essentially, what's exciting you from what I've covered? What would you want to shoot for? Go ahead, young lady. It's kind of Bethsaida. Go ahead.
The exchange program that we guys have.
Oh, like the abroad program? Mm-hmm. Does anyone like to travel? Okay. Has anyone been abroad? Where have you been?
I went to Europe last year for our senior trip. We went to Switzerland, Belgium, Luxembourg, and Paris.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you're to travel.
It was great.
Get the travel bug like I do. Okay. Anyone else?
I went to Croatia for 2 summers for a mission trip.
Awesome. Awesome. For church, for community.
Church,
Awesome.
yeah.
That's great. I know you travel a ton. Everywhere. So what else? What stands out as kind of things that are exciting you? Go ahead, Brandon.
The amount of advanced opportunities, like the amount of different options, you know.
Okay, good. Especially at a young age, right?
Definitely being able to pay my college tuition. That's plus.
Yeah, I think it's a big plus. And I have to say this, like, I don't want to make it seem I was from rags to riches. I certainly wasn't. Like, my dad was a very prominent position in the Baltimore area, and we were blessed because everything was covered. But to be able to say, no, Dad, I got it. I mean, that was a game changer for my life because then Dad treated me as an adult. And that was really cool. That was really cool. At 19, that was the best part. So, and therefore, when I graduated and all my other siblings came up, they all had to do Cutco for summer too. For two reasons, right? Because my parents really liked seeing the money, so that they made their own money. But number two, they really believed in the skills in the training program. So what other things stand out? Just curious. Go ahead,
The
Jenny.
ability to invest. Like, I'm really looking to open an IRA around, like, this
Yeah,
summer.
at the end of the summer,
So,
we'll do that.
and then-
Especially if those of you that hit the 5-figure club, and those of you that have already had a decent fast start where you're between 5 and 15,000, I think it's really good to start thinking, how do I put $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 away this summer and still have money to pay my bills and still have the fun money? I think it's really important because money I saved in 1997 has still been saving and it's still been accruing interest, and it is now probably going to end up paying one of my future kids' college tuitions in full because I decided not to spend that money in 1997. Even though I wanted to, believe me. I knew things I would spend money on. So probably not fun things now. What else? Other light bulbs?
The experience you're gonna have.
Yeah, even just the personal experience of meeting people. So here's what I'll do before we go to break. I just want to talk about the concept of an A player. When you hear that, can anyone want to guess what an A player means?
Like a team player.
Okay, part of a team player. When I say I'm looking for A players, you know what that means? Giving it your all. Good. Any other guesses? If you're an athlete, go ahead. Active player. Oh, good. A. I see. Okay. An A player. Okay. An A player, in not so many words, is the right type of guy or girl. Right? When you play any athletes here in high school, play sports, okay, what did you play? Okay. An A player, there's the person that can play on the team, and there's the person you want on the team. An A player is the person that, not the person that just knows how to play the sport, but they excel. And what I'm looking for, we want to create a factory of A players here in the Florida Caribbean division. We want it, and I want it. This is my personal mission. The reason I'm with Cutco is because I know we provide a great experience. I love teaching. I love the atmosphere. I believe in what the company does. I definitely believe in what we sell and how it helps the customer. But I am passionate about creating a Cutco division where the 18 to 25-year-olds that come through our doors, specifically in Florida and in the Caribbean, have an unmatched experience. Their resumes are untouchable rather. And when they graduate, they all call me for recommendation, and it's all nothing but the most supreme and excellent news because they're that much more advanced than their peers. And we want A players. And I have limited energy, I have limited time, and I have limited resources between not just work, but of course my family, my faith. I have a lot of things that are very big priority, much bigger than the Cutco job. So when I do take time for Cutco, I want to give it to A players. I want to give it to people who are exciting. A players to me are good people, right? They're raised right, they have good values, they're respectful, they have great work ethic, they're leaders, they're competitive, they're helpful, they know how to work hard, and they want to have a competitive advantage in life. So if you feel like, hey, this is something I could work towards, and I feel like I could be an A player, or if you feel like, hey, Jeff, you know, hey, right here, then ready? Show me, and let's get more time together. This meeting is not just as much teaching you how to sell and showing you the opportunities. These meetings are recruiting for me. You guys know what I mean by that? What do I mean by that?
It's your chance to look at us and see what we want to do.
That's it. Yeah, it's my chance to say, okay, well, these are the people that Powell and all the other managers say are the people you have to meet, Jeff. And I get a chance to say, all right, well, who am I list mentally? And then afterwards, when we text back and forth, and then afterwards, when we go back and forth through your sales, and we go to the next meeting, I'm really looking for A players. So think of A player factory. I'm really excited. And you know what? This might only be a summer gig for you. That's cool. I'm okay with that. But make this the best summer job you've had until this point, if you're going to do that. Don't just be here, right? Because we don't just want you to sell knives. We want you to really sell the best knives. We don't want you to just make money. We want you to make the best money, and so forth, okay? And last thing I'll say is make sure you get on my radar. That has to do with whether being at the events. There are multiple events coming up in between our 10K Alliance meeting about a week from now, our SC1 conference on June 14th in the mainland, June 29th in Puerto Rico, or maybe it's your next team meeting. I've been known to surprise offices and show up randomly. Especially because everything's kind of so close. Plus, I love your manager, so I like to surprise him. I've been known. So when I pop by and I say, "Hey, Gavin, how's your rep doing?" He goes, "Oh, she sold 2,000 the day after she left for SLDM." I want to know those things. Or, "Hey, how's Kayla doing?" And Powell says, "Oh yeah, since you met with her, she not only hit her 10K, but she went for that $15,000 mark." Those are really important things to think about. So with that being said, I'm excited, but I want to get you guys geared up and stretched out. So it's 12:08. We're going to take a 10-minute break. During the break, we have snacks and waters for sale. Yeah, snacks in the back. Powell will come out. Everything's $2. So whether it's water, soda, or snacks in the back, I'm going to ask that you come back. That's not 12:09, so we'll do 12:19, and we're actually ahead of schedule. So I'm looking to teach you. I'm excited to teach you how to do all this, and make sure you meet a couple people on the team, okay? Thanks, guys. We'll take 10. Okay. Good break? Yes?
Yes.
I wanted to hand this sheet out, and if you're participating virtual, I'll send out all the documents. This is a pamphlet and a brochure for our Leadership Academy. I definitely think taking a look is worthwhile. And if you decide and you feel like after speaking to your manager that Leadership Academy is something either you're gung-ho about or you're interested in and maybe hearing information about, not just go through this. I would use this as something to speak to the customers about when you meet in the beginning, when you build rapport. Let them know one of the things that you're shooting for is a chance to join our leadership and management training programs, aka TLA. So you should be going around. So here's what I do want to say about as we transition to selling and the instruction I want to give you. I know that some of you have gotten off to a really solid start where it's pretty easy to get excited about following directions here. And I think I'm going to use Kayla because I just trained Kayla on Saturday. Young lady has made over $1,000 from Saturday. She's hit 3 promotions. She's now making 25%. She's going to hit VIP night probably tonight, I would say, maybe tomorrow worst case. And she's going to compete for hopefully $15,000 to $20,000 for a fast start. She will have made $3,500 to $5,000 in 10 days. She's going to go to whatever trip she decides to customize for her and her boyfriend, and that's just the beginning. I think that's really cool. But if you didn't start like that, you might not have the same confidence, right? Some of you are just over $1,000 in sales, or you've been here for a couple of weeks and you're not even at 6,000 or 10,000. And that's okay too, because being here is really the most important thing. What I'll say is, I always like to put perspective. I think that's going to help. And you certainly don't have to take notes on this part. This is more of a, hopefully give you a light bulb. If you're brand new in these next couple of weeks, if you're still under $3,000 or $6,000 in sales, you're still making some solid money, but it's not enough to write home about, I would say. It can be. I know that Matthew is one of our high school juniors who works with us, and he just made $400 since Saturday on 5 hours worth of work. That's how much money he made all last summer, cutting grass. So for him, this is like the greatest thing in the world. But at risk of assuming everyone's like that, just know that if your paychecks are pretty solid right now, they might not be the most explosive yet, but the key is putting some perspective. So let's say you quit Cutco today. Please don't quit Cutco today. That would be bad. Jeff, what did you do? Right? So you quit Cutco today, and let's say you decide to go get a job. Now, all the good jobs you want are probably taken because the smart people will apply for them in April and March. So whatever's left over is probably the job that gets you $8 an hour. Conservative, would you agree? Okay, and what jobs are those? We know the 3. Food, retail, and labor, like construction, or I think babysitting. What would you call that? Yeah. Okay. I agree. And some of you have done that, like me. So let's say you got 30 hours of work. Now, how many of you have ever worked a retail, food, or service job before? You always get the hours when you want them, right? No, if anything, what's usually the reality? You don't get enough, or you get the ones you don't want. Okay, but let's say you did get the hours you want at 30. That's $240, but then they have to take out taxes, so you're at $190 a week. And certainly, I'm not knocking that amount because as a high school senior, college freshman, that's pretty standard income working 30 hours a week. And then, of course, you'll get a promotion first weekend, like here, right? Right, Kayla, oh, you know what? $8 an hour. By Monday, you'll be at $8.50, no problem. That's not the reality. I would say 6 months conservatively, and you go up by a whole dollar. Not 10 cents sometimes, but let's say 50 cents in this one. So now you're going up to 30 hours a week. That's $225. Take out the taxes, $205. Now you're working really hard for this company, and for a year, they want to show you they care about you, so they give you a whole dollar more. And I'd like to laugh, but this is what I experienced when I was growing up in high school. So you're looking at your 1-year growth opportunity is the difference of $30 in income. And let's say you stick with that same company because you're really moving up the corporate ladder here. 2 years later, you're at a whole $50, $60 more an hour or a week more, having a 2-year tenure with the company. That's the reality I want you to know that you face. Now, money is not the most important for about half of this room, right? Statistics show that half of you, money is not a need to, it would be a nice to have. But just know that, you know, what you're able to do here, if you do it right, and once you get to $3,000 and $6,000 in sales on a weekly basis, you can be taking home what people take home in a summer, within a month or within a week or so. Just keep working at it. I think that's my biggest point. So I want to cover in this next section, if you want to pull out the handout that says Sales Leadership Development Meeting. And if you're watching online, just know that this is just an outline and it's not anything different than just using your notebook, okay? So I want to take you through some keys that I think will help you in earning what I think should be 2,000 up to 5 figures this summer in income. So my system, okay, we'll call it Jeff's system. You can put this at the top, somewhere on the notes at the top, or in your own notebook. Okay. My system puts you at about $2,000 in sales a week, conservatively. Now, this is different. I'm going to use Kayla as my example. Kayla's in her fast start, so that's way different. And it's not a contest. I'm talking when it's not a contest and it's not your fast start, then you get at least $2,000 in sales for the week. And it would be nice if I could, I would tell you how to do it in just one day, and you probably know how to do it. You sell a signature and a homemaker, roughly, and you can definitely do that. But for me, on my system, you just get 10 orders in a week. Now, this would be working part-time to make full-time. And of course, what can you always do with appointments if you want? You can always do more and go to 20, but my system of how to make $10,000 in sales or more is you're just doing 10 to 15 orders every single week consistently, and then during contests, you'll go up, okay? So the first part I want to cover is how to get a lot of leads, okay? Let's talk about that for a second. On the sheet, it says positive expectancy. I want you to write down a question in that section where it says positive expectancy, or just in your notebook, I want you to write down, do I really expect to get them? That's a question to pose. Do I really expect to get them? Think about how badly do you want them. If someone, I had a rep that sold a signature the other day, and I said, how are recommendations? And they said, oh, I got so excited I forgot to ask. So clearly it doesn't show a prioritization of recommendations. Why is that a really bad appointment then? No leads, so the business shrinks, right? And don't you want recommendations from someone who got a signature? Because what will they tell their friends? This is the one I got, and I love it, and you should get it too. Okay, we'll talk about that. I want you to write this down, same section. $25 up to $100 per recommendation. When you do the math, depending if you're brand new, where the number's 25, all the way up to 100, if you take how much money you make from the sales that you make from each recommendation, you usually earn about $25 to $100 per name that you get. So think about that. Let's say we went to the Metro Miami office in Doral, or we went to the Boca office up in Federal, right? Close to Federal. Or here, let's say in the lobby, there was a machine that looked like an ATM machine, except it was for your recommendations. And then every time you put a recommendation sheet in there, every one name you get, every name that's contributed, you get $25 cash at the bottom. Wouldn't you work harder to submit more names? You see, sometimes when we're new, we get so excited about, I want to sell, and we forget that recommendations help grow the business. So my first tip is don't lose the enthusiasm for recommendations, because that's just as important as getting the sales. So I would put, do you expect them? For example, Kayla, hold this real quick. Okay. Miss Ginny, can you stand up real quick? And can I borrow your pen, dude, real quick? Thank you. Now watch. You're standing up. I have your pen. You took mine. Why did you take my pen? Yeah. Why did you stand up? Why did you give me your pen? Was I rude? Was I pressuring you? You can have a seat down. Did you feel uncomfortable other than why am I standing up, right? Right. I said, hold this, please. Thanks. What I didn't say was, Miss Kayla, could you maybe hold? No. Okay, you don't have to. you think maybe, sort of, you could kind of stand up? No. What did I say? Here, hold this, please. Thank you. And just get right to her. Could you stand up, please? So when you ask with confidence. Mrs. Jones, thank you so much. I really appreciate your help. Not what I know some of you do, for a fact, because I was new. If you could, no, okay, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Okay, don't worry about it means you don't believe in it either, and you don't ask with confidence. Okay, so keep that in mind. So expect, whatever you got to write down in your notes, so just say, hey, expect and ask positively with confidence. That's a really big thing. That's a really big thing. Because it's not what you say, it's what? How you say it, and actions speak louder than words. So your body language will really show if you believe in, oh, Sister, thank you so much. I really appreciate your help. And you nod and you smile and you hand it assertively. My next tip on recommendation is you should expect to get them, because people will give you recommendations if they like two things. Right? You will always have a high amount of recommendations if the customer likes two things. First of all, what do they have to like, having just seen the presentation? They really have to like the product. I personally would never recommend a family friend, peer, any of you. I would never recommend something if I didn't like what I was saying. But number two, who do they have to like? Us. You. Okay? So I want to talk about that for a second. How do you get people to like these two specifically? Okay? So let's talk about this one. This is actually the one that's easier to fix. If you do a presentation and they don't like the product or you, first of all, you did something that's really wrong. So how do you get them to really like the product? What are some things that you would imagine to be important so that customers leave the end, right before you ask for recommendations on page 16, loving that product? What are some things that you think have to happen? Yeah, right? Well, how about this? You have to do a good presentation. I think that's really important. So my question is, do you really know your product? Do you know all the names and uses? I'm just going to ask some rhetorical questions. Have you gone to Cutco.com, or have you never even gone into the specifics of your own product? If they ask you what's the difference between a slicer and a petite slicer, do you just say one's petite? Which is what one of my reps said this weekend. And that's okay if you're new, by the way. We don't give you advanced training. But if you're going to really explain the product, have you used all your products already? If you just started Saturday and you haven't cut a single piece of fruit with your product, I think you don't know your product. Have you gone to Cutco.com and find out the prices and the differences and what makes the thermoresin way better? What is each tool used for exactly? Make sure you really, and I would write this down, really know your product, but really know your product. Are you the college student that's reading from a script on how good the product is, or are you the college student that is obsessed and absolutely loves the product? I'm going to use Luke as an example. Before Luke got good at selling, which is he is really good now, he really wasn't good at selling, but he sold a lot. I'll say it again. He wasn't good at selling. He sold a lot. He wrote up a lot of big orders because he showed his best people first, and he is obsessed with Cutco. And you guys train with him. He loves the product, but he knows the product. He can tell you why you want a petite slicer at the table versus the regular slicer because it's too long. He can tell you the difference between using a hearty slicer and the cleaver. He can tell you what the difference is between a homemaker or signature or complete confidently, not, let me call my manager. Mrs. Jones, oh, you like the homemaker, Miss Kayla? That's great. Let me show you our two bigger sets that a lot of people like. What's the difference? I don't know. Let me call my office. It's so good, you have to call your office because you don't know. You see where it doesn't line up? Now, if you're newer, that's okay. That's why you show Aunt Joyce first. That's why you show Mom and Dad first. That's why you show people who love you first, because they don't care. But when you start getting into recommendations and acquaintances, can you be really confident in your product? So here's my assignment slash thing to do between now and the next 10 days. Can you go to Cutco.com and look up some of the cool features and differences between the products, between the different sets? And can you really master the difference between the homemaker, signature, and complete? It might take a few days, it might take a few weeks, but can you really know the difference? In our office, we do a little bit of the training. How many pieces are different from the basic knives from the homemaker to the signature?
Hearty slicer versus two.
How many? What's the difference? How many? It's 3. Hearty slicer, traditional cheese knife, Sentoku. Okay. How many more table knives in the signature?
Yeah.
Plus 2. How many more in the complete? Plus 12, right? So some of you know that better than others, but can you get that down right away? Especially the bigger ones. The smaller sets, that's okay, because I like to give the impression to the customer anyway that Mrs. Jones, the 3 bigger sets are the 3 best ones. If you go down, let me pull the manual out because people prefer the bigger 3, which is the truth. Okay? So get to know your product. If you have an outstanding product, people will give you more recommendations because they just love what they see. How else will people really love the product? What do you have to do in the presentation besides what we just said, which is really know the product? Sell yourself, and you got to cut food. Now this part we'll put under here, like Janine said. But back to the product. You have to sell the product. You have to sell and test drive the BMW or the Ferrari. Sorry, the Ferrari. So what do you have to do with the Ferrari? Take it around the parking lot? Where do you take the Ferrari? Autobahn. Yeah, the Autobahn. Or our version. Not quite the Autobahn. You take it out. I was telling the story of how I test drove a really fast sports car a couple months ago, and the salesperson was, I'm just a conservative driver. And I was driving, and he said, Mr. Gamboa, can I call you Jeff? I said, yeah. He goes, turn it out. I said, I'm sorry. He goes, turn it out. I went, okay, right? I pushed down, and I went from 0 to 60 very fast, and I wanted to buy that second. I wanted to put money down. I didn't, but I wanted it so bad because I was experiencing the ultimate driving machine, as they call it. Or, oh, this product is so good, trust me, the pictures are really good. But don't worry, it cuts the rope. This is perfect for tomatoes, but, or on a virtual appointment, you try to sell the product and you don't show any of the videos on the virtual. You just show the picture that where you hit the button, it shows the trimmer. But you don't go through any of the YouTube where they see that tomato, it's all juicy, they don't see it getting cut. You just say, trust me, it's good. Now more so than ever, we're in a society where seeing is what? Seeing is believing, so we really have to show people. So another product, and to Alex's point, you gotta cut food. Gotta cut food. That's really important. Let me give you the 3 best foods to cut on presentations. And if we have time, I can show you what to do with the actual food. Number 1 is grapes, because you can cut them really thin. Grapes, slice of bread, because you can use it, and when you use the double the edge, it doesn't crush the bread. You just go back and forth, and it keeps it nice, and especially the softer the bread, the better. Okay, so bread, grapes, and carrots. What can you do with the carrots? 2 things. Peel, and if you have a straight edge, what do you do? Chop. You have a straight edge. Okay. So part of getting recommendations, notice, has nothing to do with the script. It's just they just have to leave in awe of the product. Okay. How many of you felt like you've had an appointment in the last 10 days where customers were really shocked and awed of the product? Right? Can you tell me what are the things that you felt like got to that point? Hannah.
Especially for like when you're cutting the leather, when they use their steak knife versus cut the table knife.
Okay, you're beating me to it. Perfect. Okay, so the demonstration. Okay, no one cuts leather at home, and even though we make a really silly, corny joke, right? Oh, you ever have a steak like this? No one eats a steak like that. But if you can cut the leather, you can cut what? You can cut the steak. So what should the reaction be after you cut the leather with Cutco? Yeah, but I know for a fact some people, when they're new because they're so nervous, they'll cut through with Cutco, the customer looks up, they're ready to get excited, and the rep goes, isn't that great? Cool, huh? That's not cool, that's amazing. But you just you just didn't give permission to the customer to get excited right there. Or when you cut through the rope or the penny, it's like, yeah, cool, huh? Cool, huh? It doesn't sell Cutco. Wow, isn't that awesome? I love cutting with that knife. That sells the product. Okay. What else? What are some other things you noticed that got your customers really excited when you had a wow customer? Okay, so doing the demonstrate the penny.
Cutting with the rope, like a lot of the time when they use their knife, like if it does cut it, it like makes it look ugly. And then ours is like cut.
It is? Okay. So cut lots of food, okay? Now, the other part of the equation is that they're like who? But that's not as easy. It's not like, okay, how do you get someone to like you? Now, some of you, maybe you're just really comfortable speaking to people and it's easy to connect with people, but it's not as easy just to say, Miss Kayla, like me, right? There's no phrase, okay, say this and they like you, da, 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 da. right? I wish. So in order for them to like you, okay, what's really important is they have to be bought into you. They really have to tie into you. So can anyone tell me what is the hardest, most difficult part of when you're new, of the entire presentation? What's the hardest part?
Not being nervous.
Not being nervous at what part? In the very beginning. Okay, raise your hand if in your first 1 to 10 appointments there was that awkward, like you're chit-chatting. That's not hard. That's friends and family. It's, oh, Uncle Diego, how have you been? Good. Have you been back to Brazil? Oh, yeah, did you watch the, whatever you're doing? And you're chit-chat. Oh, Aunt Joy's okay. Want to get started? Or there's nothing worse than you're doing the presentation or you're about to start, you're just chit-chatting, and the moment you open that book, you feel like you're a salesperson. Right now, so I'm trying to sell you something. You have that awkward transition. Can you guys relate to that, or just that start? So now, in fact, your manual. Let me show you. You know, sometimes when you don't want to see yourself on camera, and it feels awkward, or you see your picture. This is what happens when you're new, and you're just. So how's it been, Miss Kayla? Everything's good with the family? Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much for taking the time to see my presentation. It really means a lot. So yeah, I've been out of school, and yeah, do you mind if I share with you some of my goals? Like that's how it feels, and that's certainly sometimes how it how it looks, and that's not very fun. That's not very connected. And even though they'll eventually like you, you always want to start with a bang, right? You always want to start with a bang. So let me give you how I open my presentation. In fact, I'm going to give you some keys on how to build rapport. I was taught this in my SLDM, and I'll never forget it. My presentation changed because I started with confidence and it didn't feel like the salesperson, okay? Or I used to call it the knife nerd, right? I didn't want to be the knife nerd. And as soon as I could chit chat with the best of them, and then all of a sudden when it came to the selling, you ever have that presentation where you're doing the presentation beginning, you start and you say, yeah, since I'm brand new and start, I'm going to read from my manual. Is that okay? And as you're reading it, you can kind of see them looking at you, and it feels like they might not say it, but it looks like they're saying this. What is this? What do you do? What is this job? Raise your hand if you've ever had those judging eyes, right? Okay, it's because we allow it. It's because we give them a reason to be very judgmental, not on purpose. When you do this, let me show you the difference. So what you're used to is this, right? Thank you so much for seeing my presentation today. It really means a lot. Let me tell you what I've been doing and you're reading. Versus, start over. So you sit down, you're chit-chatting. So, Miss Kayla, everything's good? Family's okay? Mm-hmm. Good. Okay. Well, let's get started. Actually, no, before we do, I'm sorry. Before we start, can I just say thank you? I want to say thanks for letting me come over today. I know I see you all the time, but I've been making a lot of phone calls for this job, and you've been really nice to at least let me come over to do a professional presentation. I can't tell you how much it means to me to take the time. I know you're really busy. And I just wanted to share with you that I started working with Cutco recently. I'm working with Cutco because they have a lot of experiences, opportunities. I'm a pre-med major, and I'm definitely not looking to sell knives for the rest of my life. But what's cool is that they have different programs like a fast start contest, okay? They have scholarships available. And the biggest reason I'm really excited to work with the company is because I know that I can make my own money. And through their training program, and 3 years from now when I graduate, I want to have a really strong resume that says I've run a business before versus all my friends who've done all the other things. So that's what I'm really excited about today, okay? And I'm going to show you a product called Cutco. Have you heard of Cutco today? Okay, great. Well, I'm going to show it to you, and I hope you're really going to enjoy it. So do you see the difference in that? So when you see that, how does that feel versus, okay, let's get started. Thank you so much for seeing my presentation today. Knife nerd, right? What I always wanted to say to myself is that I don't want to be the college student that got suckered into selling knives for the summer, because that's how I sometimes felt like I was coming across. I didn't want to come across as the college student that got pulled into the knife job. I wanted it to be on my terms. And I came from a family where my upper relatives and friends would, why are you doing this job? But when I opened this way, I'm going to teach it to you today. I had a lot more respect versus the college students selling knives. It was, oh, I can see why Jeff's doing this. Okay, so let me break it down for you. Number one, first of all, it said open and close. So if you notice, I started with, so Miss Kayla, let's get started today. Actually, I would close the book. Why? Well, 55% of communication is body language. When you open this book, what does that represent from a business standpoint? That you're trying to do what? That you are selling right now. So when you start off by saying, let's get started, and you say, actually, Miss Kayla, what you're doing is you're actually putting business on hold, and you even go like this, right? Miss Kayla, let's get started. Actually, before we do, you're taking business and putting it to what? Now, I just want to talk to you. Anyone take acting classes or drama? Yeah. So now, here's business to the side. Now let me just talk to you. Okay, so that's the open and close. Second step is you thank them. Why is that really important? Thank you is a sign of gratitude, appreciation, and respect. And who doesn't like a thank you? Trust me, your Aunt Hannah will not say, did you just thank me? Get out. You respectful, right? But genuine. Thank you. And notice I just said thank, I don't say what for. Thank them genuinely, because now it's not scripted. It comes from where? So what did I talk about? I say thank you so much. I made a lot of calls today and talked about how some people didn't say yes. I might say, hey, thank you so much. That sandwich was just a game changer because I haven't eaten all day. Thank you so much, Miss Kayla. Thank you so much because you're my favorite aunt and I really love getting time with you. Thank them genuinely for why you're there or why you feel thankful. And they'll read that, by the way. They'll read thank you from a script versus thank you from you. Third, I asked them, so have you heard of Cutco today? Have you heard of Cutco today? Now, the answer is not important. Your response is the game changer right now. Right? So let's say yes, first time, Kayla, you know the second time. So Miss Kayla, I'm going to show you a product called Cutco today. Have you heard of Cutco?
Yes, I have.
You have? Okay, so you know how awesome it is. See, my reaction will tell them, do I believe in this? Or am I the college kid that got suckered to selling knives? Right? If they say yes, oh, you know, okay, this stuff is the best. Well, let's say she says no. Miss Kayla, have you heard of, I'm going to show you a product called Cutco today. Have you heard of it?
Never.
Okay, this stuff is awesome. And I wouldn't work here if this wasn't the best. And I know Luke, personally, I've worked with Luke a long time. He says, I wouldn't put my name behind this if I didn't think this is the best. So again, it's not their answer, it's how you respond to the answer. When they say, oh, yes or no, oh, wow, so you know how good this stuff is. Number 4, I want to let you know also I'm not a knife salesperson. And I want you to say that word for it. And just so you know, Miss Kayla, I'm not a knife salesperson. What are we doing here? We're addressing the elephant. What does that mean when there's an elephant in the room? There's like an obvious that people don't want to talk about. And the obvious is that you're a college student who is my neighbor's daughter who is now selling kitchen cutlery in my house. So we want to state the obvious. Like you know, and I just want you to know, Miss Hannah, I'm not a knife salesperson. You know me. So that way it's not like, is this kid been brainwashed to sell knives? No, it's like, no, hey, look, I'm not a knife salesperson. You know that. The reason, thank you, the reason I'm working, and then you let them know why you're working and get them excited. And this is before any fast start contest. This is before, let them know. And I would say the top 3 things that people love to hear about, but they have to be genuine from you, are scholarship opportunity, number 1, and how this benefits your future resume and experience. So scholarship, resume, and experience, those top 3. Because what can you tie the experience or resume into? Leadership Academy. Okay, how about go the opposite way? So you went backwards. Go future. What can you tie in selling knives and experience for later? Future job applications, standing out on your resume, personal skills, business skills, leadership skills, confidence. Okay. So I'll do it one more time. So Ms. Kayla, let's go ahead and get, and this is at the beginning if I'm at the top of my training manual. I'm just chit-chatting and I'll say, okay, well, Ms. Kayla, we should get started. Here we go. Actually, you know, before we do, if I could just say thank you. I want to say, Ms. Kayla, thank you for seeing me today. I know I just called you this morning and I mean, it's 4 o'clock. I know you've got a lot of things with the kids going on, so thank you for seeing me today. I'm really appreciative of that. I'm going to show you a product today called Cutco. Have you heard of Cutco before? No, okay. This stuff is awesome. And I wouldn't work here if this wasn't the best. And you're going to see that really quickly. That's why a lot of people like to get this stuff. But it's kitchen cutlery. It's knives. And I want you to know that I'm not a knife salesperson. I'm a college student. You've known me for how many years now as the neighbor's kid. And I'm a pre-med major at the University of Maryland. And I want to be a doctor like Dad. And what I do know is that I need to make my own money. It's not free to go to med school. And then number two, I just know that there's a leadership training program here where I can get personal skills on how to run a business. And then one day when I become a physician, I don't want to just be a physician. I want to run my own practice. And I know that business skills are something a lot of physicians don't have. So I'm really excited to get that from while I work with in college with Cutco. So I'm going to share that to you. Thanks for seeing me today. So let's get started. And first of all, do you mind if I share with you some of my goals real quick? Okay. Yes, that's what they say. Please continue. Tell me. Okay. See the difference? Okay. Miss Kayla, you're going to do it for me. Just follow the bullets. I'll be on Joyce. And I want you to start word for word with, on Joyce, let's get started, but actually.
Okay, let's get started.
Okay.
But actually, thank you so much for agreeing to meet with me today.
Oh, no problem.
Your schedule is super busy, and it really means a lot to me that you would have a little bit of time.
You know you're our favorite, and you know your dad. You know that's.
Thank you so
you
much.
know, yeah.
Thank you so much. Actually, have you ever heard of Cutco?
You know, sweetie, you know, you're on Heidi, or Miss Heidi here. Her friends all have it, and I think we've heard of it a couple of times. We know it's the knives, right?
Yeah, it's kitchen cutlery. That's great. It's an awesome product. I wouldn't be bringing it here if I wasn't completely passionate about it. And I'm not a knife salesperson, you know me, but it's a great product. I'm actually working here because I want to move up in leadership opportunities, and it'll definitely improve my resume and give me business experience if I ever decide to open up my own interior design firm.
Okay, stop. Not a single mistake. It flowed really easily. Why? Because it's natural, because it's not a script. Because if you have to read a script on why you're working and your name and who you are, you're in big trouble. But that's what we do. That's how we start the presentation. Is it okay to read the demo? Yeah. You really should. Especially where it says, since I'm new, I'm going to read my manual. But if you're reading to introduce yourself and reading why you're with the company and reading that you're here, I think you start off on the wrong foot. Can we get Kayla an applause? Nice voice, I think. Janine, let's put you on the spot. Same thing. We'll just start off with, okay, let's get started. Actually, Mrs. Jones, go ahead. So let's go ahead and get started.
All right, so let's go get started. Actually, let me just take a moment to thank you. Like, you have no idea how hard it is to get people on the phone. People are extremely busy, and I just really want to thank you for taking the time and sit here so I can explain this awesome company. Have you ever heard of Cutco?
No, sweetie, other than what you just told us, and there's a penny in the fruits for some reason, but we're excited.
Well, basically, Cutco is kitchen cutlery. But I just want to say I'm not a knife salesperson.
Okay.
I'm actually just doing this for the experience. It looks really great on a resume, and it actually puts me apart from the other college students. Like, college students have regular jobs, and this looks a lot better. I want to be a judge.
I want to buy whatever you're selling. Because I want to help you, because that is more compelling than high quality kitchen cutlery right now. Although it's really high quality kitchen cutlery, and although it's going to wow them, that is more compelling. That is more compelling than anything you could read to start or sell. You guys understand that? Many of you will sell a lot because your presentation is still terrible this week. But you do this right, people will want to support you, and the product sells itself. Okay, so that's my first tip. Use the advanced rapport skills. So far, so good? Yes? Helpful? Okay. The next point on your outline, we'll go to the next part. It's mastering the approach. And my question that I would want you to ask yourself is it really memorized? Because, well, let me ask you a question. Why do you think it's important to get the recommendation approach and the closing memorized as soon as possible? So you have to read. Now, I want you to read the presentation, but why is it that when you ask for recommendations, you don't want to read? It's supposed to be genuine, and you want to make eye contact. Okay? Because if you can't make eye contact, what does that show with body language? Not confident, lying, something bad. Okay? So when you say, Mrs. Jones, thank you so much, I really appreciate your help, do you have it memorized? Do you have it word for word? There's one more thing you can do to really help me. I get paid every time I show Cutco. Miss Hen, I can only call people who I've been personally recommended to. So, Mr. Grant, what I need you to do, like everyone else, is just jot down about, I don't know, 200 to 300 people who would be nice enough to help me out. I'm just kidding. 20 to 30 is fine. In other words, I'm not, but you can't do that if you don't have good eye contact. So get that thing memorized as soon as possible. Part of number 2 and part of having memorized is no wimpy words. Okay? I'm gonna write down wimpy words. Here are the wimpy words I want you to lose from the approach. Okay? And I'll explain how this would translate to the Spanish version too, right? Would ya, or could ya, maybe. Would ya, could ya, maybe, sort of, kinda. When you hear those words, Hannah, when you hear those words, what do you think? Strong or weak? Weak. Would you write down? Could you? Maybe a few. What's another one? Few. And it's easier to go to filler words like this when you don't have confidence. And when you don't have confidence, it usually comes from when you have it memorized. When you have it memorized, it doesn't stop there. What if I told you I'd give you $100 cash right now if you could do your recommendation approach word for word? How many of you could do it? None? What if I told you for your ABCs, I'd give you $100 cash if you could do your ABCs? I'm not doing that, but just think about how well do you know this? It's like your playbook. And just like in sports, even if you're talented, you won't play unless you know your playbook. This is really important. My third point is automatic sponsorship. Okay, I'm going to use so this is an example of the scholarship binder. It says, help me win a scholarship too, and this was my college. And nowadays you can just go online and pull up the logo of your school. Okay. That's sponsorship. Who can tell me what the sponsorship sheet is? Where is that? Ours is green, and yours might not necessarily be green, but it looks like this. Who can tell me what's the sponsorship mean? When you get
10 recommendations.
When you get 10 recommendations to become a sponsor, and every 10 is a sponsor. Every 10 is another sponsor. Once you get to 50 sponsors, which is a total of 500 plus, you bring this back to your office, you get $150 worth of free merchandise. What can you do with the merchandise? You can put in your sample set to sell more, or you can sell it off for a profit. Otherwise, either way, it's still a sponsorship towards you. Yet sometimes people don't necessarily even mention the sponsorship, but if you can get them excited about getting to at least 10, it can make a big difference. So make sure you mention the sponsorship. Next step is handling the objections ahead of time. Let me give you my 4 questions, and I think it's in your manual already. Let me just check. This is an upgraded manual. Page 16. Okay. If you notice on page 16, it says for you guys, Mrs. Jones, how did you like my demo? Great. Now go ahead and pull out your cell phone because there's one more very important part. Instead, I want you to ask these 4 questions first before you go ahead and pull your cell phone out, okay? First question I want you to ask is, did you enjoy my presentation? Or how did you like the presentation? If you just do the job and read the pages the proper way and do all the demonstrations, what's the answer here? Yeah. Did you enjoy the presentation? Yes. Therefore, when you get that yes, you're about to ask them for recommendations, so they know all of their friends who they recommend will also what? Enjoy the presentation. Also, Ms. Janine, did I do a good job? How'd I do? So, Ms. Keller, did I do a good job? How did I do? What are you asking? Well, how did I do? And of course, even if you messed up, it's a college student who's in training. What do you think they always say? Oh, you did a great job. Or you have a really funny, really cool neighbor who's like, oh, it's like they treat you like 8 years old. Like, oh, you're great, honey.
Thanks.
right? Did I do a good job? You did great. And that gives confidence when they say that, because they know that when they recommend their friends, you will also do what? Good job. Also, Miss Hannah, did I make you feel pressured at all today? Did you feel pressured? Was it pressure? Did you feel pressured at all? I hope not. They say, oh no, not at all. Therefore, their friends will also not feel pressure when they recommend. And did you enjoy the quality of the product today? Yes. I'll tell you a cool story, true story. When I was younger, I always knew, and I learned very quickly, that when I asked my dad for something, it was better to ask him after giving him some good stuff. You guys know what I mean? Hey, Dad, can I? We had a car you drove because it was safe and you were still in high school. It was called the Volvo. You know what a Volvo is? It's like the safest car in the world. It's just not cool when you're 16 years old, 17 years old. And then there was the cooler cars. And in this case, I wanted the Jeep Cherokee because I was like the rugged, cool. We had like the newest Jeep, and black with black rims. It just looked really cool. So I used to say, hey, Dad, can I get the Jeep? No. Fail every time. Hey, Dad, did you see I did the lawn? Yeah. Oh, did you see my test this week? I got an A. Oh, nice job. Oh, you know I helped Louie with soccer practice, and I took him to practice this week, right? Yeah, great. Cool. Well, I was wondering this week, I wanted to get the Jeep. Oh, yeah, sure. Why? Because I always started with positives. So start with positives before you ask them for something, right? So, Mrs. Jones, did you enjoy the presentation today? You did. Awesome. And how did I do? Did I do a good job? Oh, sweet, you did a great job. Awesome. Did you feel pressured at all? Good. I want to make sure that you don't feel pressured. And did you enjoy the quality of the product? Of course, that's why we got that set. Awesome. Well, Mrs. Jones, great. Go ahead and pull out your cell phone right now. There's one more really important part. Okay? That way, there's no more, well, I don't want to do that to my friends. If you already brought out that they're going to have a great presentation that you're going to do a good job on, that won't make them feel pressure and they're going to see a good product, there's nothing to do to their friends other than give them a great experience. Okay? Next thing here, and again, if you're virtual, we'll email this out. One of the things I love to do is teach this because it tends to handle the objections. This is Jeff Gamboa's My Magical Phrase for recommendations. I'll take extras. Just enough? Okay. So here's where you're going to do this one. In the beginning, when you talk about the company page, okay, what do you talk about? Since 1949, all Cutco's made in the United States in our factory in Olney, New York. We sell over $200 million worth of Cutco, and customers we have over 16 plus million. And you may have seen us on TV shows like Modern Marvels and Made in America. It's one of the only products you can buy once, use every day, and never have to replace again. Cutco is a proud producer of K-bar knives used by both military and law enforcement agents. Cutco is involved with many local and national charities. Okay, and then normally from there, you cut the pen. Instead, I want you to add this phrase. Let me do it for you. Don't even read along, just follow me. And just look at the difference. Okay. Also, we're involved with many national charities as well. Also, Mrs. Jones, if you take a look at the bottom here, see it says DSA? That's the Direct Selling Association. We're also a member of the Better Business Bureau. Those are two organizations that monitor ethical practices of U.S. companies, and we have an outstanding record with both. What that means is that I can't go door-to-door telemarketing for this company. That means the only way that I can continue to work towards a scholarship and towards my resume experience is if I am personally recommended to other people, just like I was recommended to you. So Ms. Kale, at the end of this presentation, I'm going to ask you to recommend me to 20, 30, 40, 50 plus people that that would be nice enough just to see it. If I don't do a good presentation, if you don't like the product or if you feel pressured, I don't want you to recommend me at all. But if you really like the presentation, if you like the product, or if you just like me, I am going to ask you, but I want to make sure you get a heads up. Okay? Cool. Let's get started. Let me show you something called the Super Shares. So we'll stop. How does that feel? Yeah. What's the number one reason why people don't give recommendations? Anyone know? There's actually a predominant number one reason when someone doesn't give you recommendations? You surprised them. Who's ever had a presentation? Some of you just started Saturday where everything was awesome. The cutting was awesome. The demonstration was awesome. And then when you asked for recommendations, it became not awesome. Or it became like a, oh, honey, no. Or it went from like Dr. Jekyll to Mr. Hyde. Went from like happy to like, oh, no, why would I do that? Like very uncomfortable. It's because you clearly caught them off guard. But if you do this phrase, they know it's coming because you're basically saying what? We're a great, outstanding company. Here are 2 companies that recognize that. We don't do door-to-door telemarketing. I can only work through what? Recommendations. So if I don't do a good job, or if I'm bad, or if I'm high pressure, don't recommend me. That's okay. But if I do a good job, if you like the presentation, and I actually do this, watch this. Or if you just like me, smile. Or if you just like me, and I do one of those, how can you not like me? Smiles. Like, or if you just really like me, right? I am going to ask you to recommend me at the end. I just wanted to give you a heads up. Because Mac customers are awesome at buying Cutco, but Mac customers don't like being surprised by young people. Try surprising your parents. You ever do that? Where is this coming from? What happened? You're like, oh my God, Jeff, you know. Oh my goodness, right? It's like, oh, you know. Well, adults don't want to be surprised. So don't surprise them. Let them know ahead of time. And sometimes you'll get through the presentation and you do it the right way with that phrase, and you'll get to the end, Mrs. Jones. There's one more really important part. Here's when you need your cell phone. They'll say, oh, is this where I recommend you? Oh, I have lots of friends. Who'd like that? Who'd like them to cut you off and say, shh, I got it here? Yeah, that's what happens when they already know it's coming. Okay? So take a look at it one more time. Let's take a look at the phrase one more time. Mrs. Jones, this is after the national charities. So if you want, later, maybe not right now if you don't have your manual out, right, where it says Cutco is involved in many national charities, you can write down magic phrase at the bottom, or in the white space, magic phrase. Mrs. Jones, we're a member of the DSA, the Direct Selling Association, and the Better Business Bureau. These are 2 organizations that monitor ethical practices of U.S. companies. We have an excellent record with both. That means we don't do door-to-door and we don't do any telemarketing. So the only way that I can continue to compete for the scholarship. See, notice if you're a student, when do you always make it about? Scholarship or the internships, right? If I'm personally recommended to other people by each customer, just like I was recommended to you. So Mrs. Jones, at the end of the presentation, I'm going to ask you to recommend me to 10, 20, 30 plus other people. If I don't do a good job, if you don't like the product, or if you just don't like me, I don't want you to recommend me to anyone. But if you feel like I did a good job, if you like the presentation, or if you just like me, I smile, then I'm going to ask you to recommend me to as many people as possible. I just wanted to give you a heads up. Okay, now let me show you these super shares. Question?
So after reading this, we also do page 6 again in May.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You'll still go there, but you get way less resistance. They'll say, oh sure. Now, it's not perfect. You're still going to have some customers that no matter what you do or what you say, will be a little bit tougher to get recommendations. But what I'm trying to do is decrease the automatic shut you down because you didn't present it the right way. Okay, cool. Last thing on your sheet, it says recommendations notebook. This is a must. Okay, this is a must. So let me give you a quick order here. I'd like you to copy this down here. This is your order recommendations. The approach, this is page 16. What's before the approach I just taught you? You ask what? Four specific questions. So shoot 4 questions, then you ask the approach. That's part of the approach. Mr. Jones did a good job. Did you enjoy the presentation? Did you feel pressured? Did you enjoy the quality of Cutco? Okay, great. Go ahead and pull your cell phone out. There's one more really important part where you can help me out. You go through the whole thing. No matter how many names they give you, and I taught this to my guys yesterday, no matter how many names they give you, they'll give you the sheet back. Oh, Hannah, here you go. And they give you 2, 10, 20, even if they give you 100. I want you to hand it right back to them. But positively, and I want you to hand it back and thank them. Say, oh, Miss Hannah, thank you so much for these 30, for these 5. Thank you so much. Now can you write down anyone that won't buy anything, but they're really nice and they'll see me for the scholarship? I'll say it again so you can write it down. Thank you so much. Now can you write down anyone that won't buy anything? Thank you so much, Mrs. Jones. Now can you write down anyone that won't buy anything, but they're really nice and they'll help me with the scholarship? Because initially, who do they write down? People they think are going to be big customers, which is positive. Now, I'll make Mr. Grant, Miss Hannah, just so you know, thank you so much, but can you write down people now who won't buy anything, but they're really nice and they'll help me for the scholarship? And my mom, her whole recommendation list was, oh, you can call them, but all my coworkers are cheap, or they're not going to buy, or they're not in the market. And I sold probably $30,000 onto that list of people. Okay, so far, so that's called the handback. Thumbs up if you understand. Any questions? Okay. Once they're done that, then I want you to go to the smiley technique. This is really important. Okay. Let me show you how the notebook is set up. So the cover of your binder should have this. Okay, it says, "Help me win a scholarship to," okay, and then you print out your school. And this looks a very college student generated, right? Doesn't look like Vector Marketing Sales Corporation recommendation book. It's just, in fact, I purposely formatted this way because it looks kind of sloppy like a college kid, because I'm very OCD. This drives me crazy. It should have been on one line and something different, but it's just not formatted to the best. But I want them to see this is from me, a college student, not from Vector Marketing. Okay, that's the cover. And you can easily go on my binder in college. I was a pre-med major, so I printed out the caduceus, which is the snake and the sign, stethoscope, and I also had a picture of me as a little kid with my dad's white coat and his little head thing, because it just looked cute, right? And also show that that's my major and that's really what I really want to do. That's the cover. Then the front sheets should all be ones that have a double sponsor or more. Okay, so like this, notice the first sheets they see have 20. First sheets they see have 20. And we even highlight it. I wouldn't write this in dark pen because then you write through your recommendations, you can't see them. But here in highlighter, it says double sponsor. So as I'm flipping through, what are they seeing? 20, 20. So we're creating influence. Then, the middle. Is anyone that gives you 10 or more? Anyone that gives you 10 or more? And the back is blank. The back is blank. Now whose sheets are those? That's for there. So they go, Mr. Johnson, here's my sponsorship notebook, and here's where you can write them down. I see it. Notice this is for my scholarship, because the more people you recommend it to, the more it helps me earn a scholarship. It's all about the scholarship. And then you go to 2020, 2020, 10, 10, 20, 20, 20. Oh, here's your sheet. So now what's the influence say? Yeah, everyone gives 20. I don't have to, but yeah, everyone gives 20 to the student looking to earn a scholarship. Yeah. You want a little extra technique? Let's say, here's the binder. Here's the blank one for Miss Kayla. K-A-Y, K-A-I. K-A-Y. So Miss Kayla, I already have their name on the top of the sheet before I go into the presentation. What I love to do though, if I know Miss Kayla's friend, Miss Hannah, already saw me, and Miss Hannah gave me a lot of names, I'll take the sheet out and put Miss Hannah's names right next to Miss Kayla. And I'll say, okay, Miss Kayla, there you go. There's 20, 20, 20, and there's your sheet. And oh, there's your neighbor, Miss Hannah. She gave me 22. So I can make it personal. And you'll get this like one of every other time they'll go, well, I'll beat her, don't worry. I'll give you more. Or who did she give you? Oh, I'm going to give you better ones. Like, comes this keeping up with the Joneses thing. Okay? So this is important because having loose sheets of paper all over the place isn't as organized, and it doesn't create an influence. So now it's about the scholarship. They're seeing a lot of 20s before they get to the blank ones at the end. Okay? And then notice, see I said smiley? Every 10, there's a smiley face. What's 10 represent? A sponsorship. So no matter what they give you, so you do the 4 questions, you do the approach. You hand them you go through the binder, they start writing down. They gave you back 2, 5, 15, 115 names. You say, thank you so much. Now who do you know that's nice that won't buy, but they'll be nice enough to send you for the scholarship? Then, when they give you the names back, if they fall just short of a smiley face, you say, Miss Kayla, thank you for these 7. By the way, you only need 3 more to get to the smiley. And the smiley will help me with a sponsorship. Could you get 3 more to get to the smiley? Because smiley is like the most non-intimidating word you can use. Mrs. Jones, can you get to the 10 to get the corporate sponsorship for my job? Or Miss Hannah, and I even used the kindergarten, Miss Hannah, you're only 2 more from the smiley. Could you get to the smiley? Because it helps me with the sponsorship. And then you have moms that say, I can get to the smiley. Because smiley. And then what I even encourage our students to do is you go to the craft store and you go buy stickers of the most non-intimidating stickers you can find. Now this happens to be fish, okay? But I like big smileys. Like I actually went, I think it cost you $1, okay? And you put little stickers and you'll say, oh, Miss Jones, Miss Kayla, thanks for the 8. Actually, if we get to the little Sharky over here, we get to the Sharky and I'll say Sharky or smiley or fishy. Because you want the words to feel really soft. You get to the Sharky over here, it gets me the sponsorship. Can you get 2 more to get there? But if they give you a 12, say, oh, Miss Hannah, thank you for the 12, and you got to the Sharky, which gives me a sponsorship. Actually, if you get 8 more, it gets me to the next Sharky or the next Smiley. Would you be able to get to that? Because it would give me 2 sponsorships. And see, the reason people stop, it's not because they don't have people, it's because they don't have incentive to do so. But if they know, oh, if I just get 8 more, I can help her get that Smiley, that sponsorship, I'll get to 8 more. So far, so good? Okay, so utilize that. Then you want to qualify. Who knows what that means, to qualify? What does qualify mean? There's a reason why there's a column over here with these symbols, if you don't know. Qualify, Jonathan.
Pretty much to tell them if they have no money or what their job
you want to know who the best customers are. Yeah, exactly. Financially, house-wise. So let me tell you what the symbols mean. Once you go do the approach the first time, then you hand it back and get more. Then you try to get more smileys. The qualifying questions is where you write down codes here based on their answers. So you'll say, thank you so much. Can I just ask you a few more quick questions? And here's the key phrase, just so it's comfortable for them when I call. And I think that says a lot to the customer giving you names. Ms. Hannah, could I ask you a few quick questions just to wrap it up, just so your friends are comfortable when I call? That just shows professional courtesy and that you're there to give a really laid-back presentation. And here are the different symbols. The first symbol is a smiley face. Okay, Mrs. Jones, who on this list is really nice? It's funny what the moms will start to say to you. Like Kayla, oh honey, oh yeah, call my neighbor, Miss Hen. She's so sweet, she buys everything. Like they start to give you who the best customers are. Who here is really nice? Okay. Who here likes nice things? What's that a more polite way of saying? Who has money or who spends and has good disposable income? Okay. Number 3. Who loves to cook? Like who doesn't just cook because they have to? Who likes to or who loves to cook? Okay. Who here owns a house? What might they say to you? Oh, they own 2. What does that mean? What's called a Mac Plus. Yeah, it's a Mac Plus. Okay, and then the final one, number is how many kids. So let's say you have a big contest period, and you have the first weekend of the contest. Let's say it's SC1 contest. Who do you want to prioritize when you call? The ones that have the most symbols. We call those your 5-star. Because if this customer has all these symbols, it's a nice person who likes to spend money, who loves to cook, owns their home, and has to cook for people. That's a signature complete almost every single time. So now you're not calling through customers and you don't know who they are and whether they'd be a good customer. Because when you're brand new, you're just calling through your friends and family, and then it goes into the acquaintance list. Then finally, it's in the manual, but then you'll text your customers. You'll say, Miss Kayla, who could you text? Could we text the best 3 to 5 people just to give them a heads up? And why is that really important? Who's done the texting already? Okay, what does that help with?
Lets them know that I'm gonna be texting them.
Yeah, and what don't you usually have to do if you do the text program properly? My goal for you is, can you send 5 text messages every appointment before you leave? Miss Hannah, thank you for all these people. Could you text the best 5 and give them a heads up that I might be calling? And then when you call, like, hi, Miss Hannah, this is Jeff. Oh yeah, I got the text message. Yeah, they've already said yes. They don't even let you do the phone approach. They just book a time with you. Imagine not having to do phone time. So send text messages. And then last but not least, if you have a social mom, meaning like social in general, but also on social media, have them put a post. Usually I would say having a picture, like a selfie, is the best, where the mom will take a picture with you and they'll say, this is Hannah, one of our best friend's daughters who goes to UF, and we love her. We've known her since. And some parents will go crazy. They'll put like the split picture, and they'll get a picture of you when you're a little kid. And look at her, all grown up now, going to college, and now she's trying to work her way, working with Cutco knives. If you're interested in helping her, like, they will be your salesperson if it's a close friend of family. Any questions so far? Okay. And I always recommend making your scholarship notebook, the first 2 pages, having some really cool, and this is, you can tell this one from one of our more artsy and one of our, what should call it? She called this the girly girl book. Right? This is Estelle. She said, oh, this is my girly girl book. Most of our guys probably wouldn't do little cool, cute bears and all that. But what's the point? She put everything that she's working towards that's not just making money. Including, I mean, she wants to earn a certain amount of money, but there was a cruise instead of Puerto Vallarta that year. She wants to earn a scholarship, so it gives her a chance to talk about certain things. Okay, I'm gonna stop there for a second. So let's debrief, we'll take another break. What are the biggest things we've taken from this section, which is how to get more recommendations? Ginny, what's one big thing for you? Okay, and why do you like the questions so much for you?
Because it like eases the blood.
Exactly, and it gives them a heads up. Good. What else, Kayla?
I like the additional script you gave us for before we do the scissors, because I noticed with all my appointments, everyone gets so petrified when I ask them for recommendations.
Yeah, and you don't want to, and you have to think about this. If you see patterns, that means something's happening the same way. So we can change that. Good. What else stands out? Miss Hannah, we'll go this way.
I also like the open and the close approach, because it makes it much more personal rather than sitting down, opening it up, and then reading through a thing that you're just there to do the sales.
Yeah, I'm okay with you saying, because it's in the book, and by the way, Miss Hannah, I'm brand new, so it's okay if I read my book. Sure. But before that, you shouldn't be reading why you're doing the job. You shouldn't be reading what your major is going to be. Okay, good. Other thing that stand out, we'll go Grant and then back there.
The heads up text.
Just make sure they're not texting, hey, they're trying to sell me knives, it costs $1,500. Like, no prices, no selling, just student trying to earn a scholarship. That's your whole approach. Anyone not a student? Okay, and everyone, use student scholarship for everything. Any other takeaways? Yeah, there's 2, right? First of all, it just helps me with my scholarship, and then the sponsorship. Okay. When you get to the smiley face, it gets me a sponsorship. So if I see a recommendation scholarship notebooks next couple of weeks, I want to see stickers. It doesn't have to be fishies and sharkies, but I do like to emphasize the smiley face, and it costs 75 cents for a pack of stickers, $1 for a pack of stickers. Cool? Okay. Let's take our final break. It's 1:27. Let's take 10. Okay, everybody, we'll take 10. We'll come right back. overall biggest takeaways from the meeting? Doesn't have to be specific tips, but what in general is giving you confidence or excitement right now? That's what I like to.
Well, the fact that like there's a fine line between confidence and being rude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just because you're being confident, you're being direct, doesn't mean you're necessarily being rude to the customer.
Right, and learning how to balance that line. Good. And we never want to, I'd say that's incorrect on my part, we never want to balance the line. We never want to approach being rude or aggressive. That's not even somewhere we approach, but certainly being assertive is really what I want you to be. Okay. What else is giving you confidence or is getting you excited to move forward?
You can be assertive, but you can also be confident at the same time.
Yeah, of course, you can be yourself. Okay.
Lots of other recommendations.
Yeah, lots of
That's-
recommendations.
It's a problem for me.
That's the key to the business, isn't it? So, okay, good. And anyone else? Okay. So let's move on. What I want to cover on the next sheet is how to get more presentations and more people to call. I think that's the name of the game. First thing I want to share with you, it's not a secret. In fact, your managers probably should have covered this during training, but if not, it's a very easy trap to fall into. Oh, all I do is make phone calls, and it's really tough because that's all I do for the job. It seems like that in your first 10 days and your first 2 weeks, but when you understand there are actually times that are not good to call at all unless the customer told you to call them. So for most of you, this is a review, but it's good to get down. Formula for success. So 3 major phone times you want to remember. First, what we call the major phone jam. So I write this down. Sundays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Sundays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. These are called phone jams. Many of you have already experienced your first 1 or 2 phone jams. Friday night was a phone jam from your training. Saturday morning before training started. If you've already finished your faster, you've been to a Wednesday team meeting, you know what that's like. So what's the objective of a phone jam? Get appointments. And why is it that most of our reps get more of their appointments here than anywhere else? Okay, so it's geared at the right time, which is the evening. Why else do you think reps prefer to do phone jam versus cell phone time? Even though I'm okay with reps making their own phone calls from home, I'm totally fine with that. But I find the first 2 weeks, most students aren't as focused and they're not as good at the job yet. Like me, when I was a rep, I was number 1 in the whole company. I only phone jammed twice a week instead of 4 or 5 times, but I could do it on my own. I would get 10 appointments from home. I would lock my door and I would do it 3 hours straight, and I didn't get interrupted. But now with social media and text and mom knocks on the door, wants to know what you want for dinner. I mean, there's so many things that are out of our control. Why phone jam from the office?
Also, the environment is a work-friendly environment.
It's a work-friendly environment. It's also why you go to the gym. You guys know you're 33% more likely to work out if you're in a facility. Why? Because you're already there. That's half the battle, showing up. Anyone, any gym rats here? Love the gym? Okay, you go to the gym. You're like, I don't feel like working out. You're like, I'm here. You might as well. Yeah, some of you I can tell. 6 to 9:30 for the most part. I would say all 3 are 6 to 9:30. Last appointment, and I would make a note. The last appointment on Sundays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, you never want to have an appointment past 4:30. Because any appointments that go past that will go into your phone jam. If it goes into your phone jam, you don't get the number of appointments. You can cut your paycheck in half, literally, by not doing the phone times. The only exception I would make is Thursday. If your 3-day window is already booked up, I think Thursday is okay to make appointments past 4:30. If Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is already booked up. Me personally, I don't care if a rep comes in and they're booked up or they do it from the office, as long as they're booked up. That's our concern. Number 2 is Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 9:30. I would definitely get that down. That's not secret, but not everyone does it because they sometimes misconstrue what they think is early for a college student versus a Mac customer. What do I mean by that?
Most college students aren't as active.
Yeah, most college students, you call them at 7:30 to 9:30, they'll be really irritated and ask why you're calling so early. Versus if you call mom and dad, I know in my household, I was the oldest of 4 kids. If you called at 8 o'clock, the house is empty. We've eaten, dad's on his way to work, mom's bringing the kids, or she's going to the hospital, she was a nurse, or we're at school already. So, in fact, some of our top reps even call 7 o'clock, 7:15 if they know the family's already up and out already. Last but not least is any time in the evening, and then Saturdays from 9 to 10. I wouldn't go 7:30 on a Saturday. I definitely would go 9 o'clock. We were a big soccer family, and if you called the house on Saturday by 10, we're already at the next soccer tournament by 9 o'clock. I'm gonna go back one. I want to teach you how to schedule immediate appointments. I'm just gonna give you a script here. It's called leapfrog. Who's heard the term leapfrog before? What's leapfrog growing up?
Like one person jumps on the other and then jumps on the other.
Yeah, so one of the kids will bend down and they'll jump over. It's the concept of going from next to the next to the next. So true story. Jaron Matthews was one of our top reps. It was SC1 push. It was Saturday. It was going to be his biggest selling day of the whole push. He wanted to sell a lot of cut for that day. In fact, he was going for a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 day for sure. He only had one appointment by the time Friday night came around for Saturday. It was a 9 a.m. Saturday morning appointment. It's not that he didn't want to get the appointment. He just, for some reason, didn't book them. So he went to his 9 o'clock, sold the homemaker. Did this. That person set up another appointment with the neighbor at 10:30, 11. Sold another homemaker. That neighbor hooked him up with not just one neighbor, but the other friend from church across to the other neighborhood. So literally started with a 9 o'clock, went to 6 straight appointments, sold $7,000 on the day. I don't recommend doing this all the time because it means you didn't have appointments, but how many of you have ever been to an appointment and right after you were supposed to, wanted to, and planned on having one, but you just couldn't book it? That's why this is great. Okay, that's why also, to Grant's point, texting is really awesome because let's just say, for example, let's say I meet with Grant and Miss Hannah, my favorite neighbors, and they buy a galley set and they give me 25 recommendations. I'll say, Mr. Grant and Miss Hannah, can we text the best 5 people to see who'd be able to help me out with the scholarship? If they text the best 5 people, what might happen in terms of their availability? They might be, I'm free now, and you can go right to that presentation. So I can go see them, and I might see Hannah's best friend from church right across the street. I'm there. I was empty. I have an appointment. Okay? So I'll read along here. It says, David Shapiro had 1 demo for the day, leapfrogged twice to make it 3, and sold over $2,000. Mike Salone set up half of his appointments by leapfrogging from and became an FSM, which is 50%, in less than 12 weeks. Sarah Maley leaped into a homemaker +8 at 11:30 p.m. It works. So you do your normal recommendation approach, cheering them on until they get to at least 10. After you receive the list of names, you say, Mrs. Jones, I still need to see blank people per week. What's that? That's the amount of appointments you want to do a week. I still need to do 17 appointments per week to hit my goal this summer, and I still have 3 openings for today that I didn't book. Normally, I would have an appointment lined up right after yours. However, I wasn't able to schedule one. It would be great if we could try and get a hold of someone that might be able to see me right now. If they buy anything at all, I'll give you a free table knife just for helping me out. So who do you think we could call or what? Or text? And what you do is, let's say Hannah recommends me to her best friend from church, Kayla. Kayla buys a homemaker. I'll say, oh, Miss Kayla, also I'm going to write on the order, I'm going to add a table knife because Miss Hannah gets a free piece of Cutco. So I'm going to add that to your order, and when it comes, can you please give it to her? And what might Miss Kayla say? How did she get that? Oh, funny you say. Do it again. And that's how you go leapfrog. The most I've done in a row is 5. Start with 1, and I got 5 in a row right after. So, cool? All right, that's easy. That's plug and chug. Next one of my favorite. When I think about the 3 things that caused me to really sell $76,000 in one summer and make $27,000 in income. That would be the equivalent of selling $113,000, $120,000 now with the new prices. I think about the next 2 things I'm going to teach you. I think, first of all, everything I did was about a scholarship and experience for med school, not about selling cutlery. I always had goals that I talked about, so I made sure I opened up with that. Second thing I want to talk about is the 60-40 rule. This is by far the second of the 3 biggest things that help me. 60-40 rule. And what that means is 60% of your recommendations and 40% of your recommendations are for leads, aka recs, and sales. Okay. This has to do with the free points you give away. Many of you have already learned that you can give away free stuff, correct? Now, why do we give away free stuff? What's the free stuff for? Incentive, meaning it's not a hookup unless it's friends and family. But in general, we only give away free stuff if it helps you get a sale that you couldn't get. Everyone understand that? Why? How come you don't want to be too charitable with points? It takes out of your commission. So only give it if you need it. If you need it. Again, unless it's friends and family, you always want to hook up your friends and family. Okay. So recommendations and sales. So if you remember, there's an equation of how many points you can give away. You're allowed to give away 20 points for every $100 of, not line one, but CPO. Every $100 of CPO, you can give away 20 points. So for example, if they spend $200, you could give away up to 40 points of free Cutco for that order. Let's do the homemaker example. I'm sorry. So if you do a homemaker 12-12, how many points could you give? Well, 12 times 2, 20. You could give away up to 240 points, which includes kitchen tool set or the super shears or the entertainment pack. If you needed to, what could you do? Instead of just giving one, what could you do? 2, and maybe close to 3. I don't think you can do 3. Everyone understand this so far? Mm-hmm. So when you call your office for help, this is what they're doing. They're helping you get free stuff this way. But you know when you're driving on your odometer, there's like the red part, right? So it's like it's in the red. Can you drive? Are you supposed to drive in the red? No. No. Is it good for the car? No. But can you in emergency, like I got to get fast, really quick situations? Yes. So what I'm going to show you, you are now authorized to use, and no one else knows this. You only learn this if you come to my SLDM. So this is a secret tip. You're actually allowed to give away 30. You shouldn't always do it like the red, but if you need to give more incentive to a customer, you can give more points away. So here's my 60-40 rule. If I give points to a customer, no matter how many points I have, I'm always gonna save 60% more of my points. I'm gonna save to get recommendations. Okay, so for example, here's a homemaker +8. Instead of 240 points, because it's 30, I can give 360 points away for free. Okay. So normally, for example, I'd say Mr. Jones, let's say I can give away 360 points. 60% of that, I would only give maybe 160. I would only give 160 of those points away to help get that sale. So let's say they buy a homemaker 12-12. I'm able to give more points than normal. I have a total of 360. Let's say Miss Kayla likes the homemaker. I give her the kitchen tool set for free. But let's say she's still not so sure. I might give her the kitchen tools and the super shears for free, which is about the full 160. But I still reserve 60% of those points. So when we finish the presentation, she's already going to buy Cutco. And I say, Mrs. Jones, thank you so much for helping me out. By the way, if you can get me a double sponsor, what I'm also able to do is give you more free stuff. So remember that ice cream scoop you really like? Yeah, I can actually throw that in on the order for free too. But I have to get at least a full double sponsor. That's how many points? 30 points? It's so funny. All of a sudden, now they know a lot of people. It's so funny how all of a sudden, oh, let me help you more. Why? Because what did we just create? Incentive. So let's just use this example. If I sold a homemaker +8, I have 360 points. Let's say I give away a kitchen tool set and super shears. There's 160 gone. I gave away an ice cream scoop. Now I'm down to 170. As they start to get to that second sponsorship, before they finish, I'll say, oh, Mr. Grant, Miss Hannah, I can keep going. And that's so funny. They always go, what do you got? They'll say, what else can I get for free? Oh, you really like the super shears? I can give you another. You said you wanted another pair for the other house? I can throw another pair of super shears. And by the time you know it, it works out. You can give up to 7 to 10 things for free. Now, you might have used all your points. So I've got a 12-12 minus all my points. I mean, you're talking a 900, 800, really low. And people might say, oh, wow, you really gave too much to give away the sale. All the time, I would come back to my office and my orders would be like all the points given away. People would laugh and say, wow, you really had to work for that one. I would laugh and say, no, no, no. I'm okay because I walked out like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different things for free. I would all the time sell a homemaker and get 200 recommendations. I would all the time sell a $1,000 order and get 100 names and numbers because that customer got 10 things for free, 4 things for free because I was asking for more names. And how do you think they speak about me to their 100 friends they recommended me to? Yeah. Oh, and you know what they say? Kayla, guess what? When she calls you, Hannah's going to give you free stuff if you recommend people. So just give her everyone. So then you go to the next appointment, and I had Miss Peggy Lewis. I walked in, she was, oh, hey, honey, when do I give you the free names? Because I want some stuff for free. Never saw Cutco. I walked in and said, hey, honey, how are you? Good. Yeah, Miss Kelly was talking. I was just talking to Miss Kelly on the phone. Hey, I want free stuff, so I'm going to give you my directory, okay? So be good. Be good to me. That's the greatest presentation. Is that a light bulb for you guys? Okay. Now here's a little extra advanced tip. If you're going through the presentation and you close on, let's say, a homemaker, what's the first response? Congratulations, you're gonna love your set of Cutco. Before I continue, let's take a look at the bigger sets. And if not the bigger sets, let's take a look at the accessories. And if you go through accessories, find out what they really like. They might not say yes, add it, but they'll tell you what they like. Oh, you know, not now, but that fishing knife is really sweet. I would offer the fishing knife later for names. Oh, Miss Kelly, you're gonna love this. Thank you so much. By the way, if you get to the double sponsor, you know that fishing knife Mr. Grant was talking about? I can throw it in for free if you just give me 2 sponsors. And they'll always, oh, let me get him that knife, and then you get a lot of recommendations. Okay? When you sell a set, you should always get lots of recommendations because they have enough points to barter and give them incentive. Any questions on this to clarify? This was huge for me. I never had, oh, I don't have people to call. I never experienced that. If that's you, if you feel that way, I would ask you, number 1, do you have your recommendation memorized? Probably not. Do you have a sponsorship binder? Probably not. Number 3, use all the tips I gave you before this part. That'll already increase it. If you have this on, you'll always have names, and the problem isn't who do I have to call, it's who are the best people to call. That's the problem you want. And you can do that within 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, you can be at, I have too many people to call, Karina, Andrew, Luke, Powell, show me who are the best ones, because I have thousands right now. I don't know who to target. That's the one you want. Cool? How many of you like that one? Oh, okay, good. On your next appointment. Next I want to teach you is the kitchen system. And this is one of my favorites. This helped increase my average order tremendously. I'm going to go back to the second day of your initial training. You guys know you have the homemaker, which we start with. What's next? Okay, and then the complete, right? Underneath is the valley. How many table knives? 2 plus 6. Then we have 8 starter sets. And then you can custom if you really needed to. And we don't like that at all. We don't go there. What's there? 1 knife. Well, what's there? 0. We don't want to go there. So the set you're designed to start with is the homemaker. Does anyone know what's the average order with the company? About $300. Does anyone know why that's the average order? What's that?
A lot of homemakers sold.
In some cases. Okay. Some people think that the average order of Cutco is 300 because that's an average amount that people can afford. That's actually not the case at all. If you show it to the right people, they can afford way more than 300. 300, what do we talk about in training? What's 300? Going out or grocery bill. It's like 1 or 2 nights out to eat out with the family, or it's 1 week, not 2 weeks, 1 week of groceries. That's not average. Okay? The reason it's average is this. I want you to write down 5 to 6 times. Consumer psychology says that on average, not just with Cutco knives, but with all retail or any type of purchasing power, the average customer psychologically has to say no 4, 5, or 6 times before they feel comfortable saying yes. Think if you're a shopper and you like to go, let's say retail shopping. You're looking at shoes or dresses or basketball shoes or fishing gear, whatever you look for. Very rarely do you have the, oh, I see that, I want it, I'll buy it. Sometimes you have those people. Most people have to say, I don't really need it right now, but that looks really cool. Well, let me try it on. And you get the opinion. Hannah, what do you think? Do you like them? Let me look at my account again. I don't know if I should budget for this. So they go through this process, and then when they say yes, they really feel good about the yes. So if that's true, if you guys buy into this concept and believe that, watch. If you start with the homemaker, the reason the average order is $300 is not because it's average at all. It's because when you say no 5 or 6 times, it's a $300 order. Is that light bulb for you? That's why it's 300. It has nothing to do with the portability. It's just when people say no 5 times, you get it 300. And by the time you do that on a payment plan, that's $80 a month, piece of cake. So in theory, if you started here with everything, and they say no 5 or 6 times, you should end higher. So later on in the summer, actually next week, if you get invited to the 10K Alliance, there's something called the Complete Kitchen, which is the whole book. We sell the whole book. Okay, and so when you get more advanced, we sit down with Miss Hannah, let's say, and it's not, oh, do you want to buy a set of Cutco? Let me show you how to have a kitchen that's a Cutco kitchen. How many of you know people that just want everything in one room to be a certain brand name, or all our TVs are all of this? It's the same thing. There's anyone that wants to furnish their house. This would be a complete set, all the accessories, all the kitchen tools, cookware, which is the cooking ware, and all forks and flatware, forks and spoons. So everything in their house is a Cutco utensil. Okay, and that, in theory, would be great because if they say no 5 or 6 times, hey, would you like to get that today? No, that's okay. Well, would you like to get the mini kitchen, which is this much off, and it's about $2,000 less? No. Would you like to get this one? No. How about you just get the knives? Yeah, let's just get the complete just to start. That's how our top reps sell. They start with the whole kitchen, and people will get a signature because they just want to get a starter set. People will get it complete because they don't want a kitchen. They just want the knives for now. But the way you present it is if you start with a homemaker, that's like the biggest set sometimes. And this is like upgrading versus our guys presented as, no, this is the kitchen, and these are the smaller options. But you're still new. No one's been here for more than 2 weeks. And I think if you try to close on a kitchen, you'll get a lot of no's until you get experience. You know, a couple of weeks, I do think it makes sense to start with all 3 together and show this homemaker, this signature, complete. That way they can start and pick between those 3 options. But in the meantime, something that really helped me out is what I'm going to teach you. It's called the kitchen system. I'm going to make a set in between. I'm going to give you a brand new set that you don't know about that's above the homemaker but below the signature. And this is where I want you to start selling. Meaning, when you go to the customer's home, I either want you to, at some point, you'll do the kitchen. At some point, they'll show all 3 of the big sets. But for now, show what's called the kitchen system. The kitchen system is simply this. It's when you do a presentation, you go through the normal presentation. Mrs. Jones, at twice the quality and value, you're talking twice the price. At twice the price, you're talking over $4,000 for your set of Cutco. Let me show you what you get. Popular set, it's called the Homemaker Plus 8. It's great for people who cook an average of 2 to 4 times a week. It comes with everything you see here. It comes with a basic 10 tools for everyday use, 8 table knives, it comes in the wood block. It also comes with the sharpener and what? And the cutting board. This Kayla, the kitchen system, also comes with the kitchen tool set and the super shears. Stop. All I'm doing is making a set that has the homemaker, the kitchen tools and shears combined into a set. The other option is the same thing. It's the kitchen system, but without the table knives, which also has the kitchen tools and shears together. That's also a nice set. Mrs. Jones, if you were getting Cutco today, would you say you get the most use out of the one with the 8 table knives? Great. Okay. Scale, the beautiful thing is that this doesn't cost over $1,990, over $4,000. Matter of fact, it's not even as much as the kitchens, the wood stuff on sale, which is $1,999. The kitchen system plus 8 is only $1,567, and we even have a 5-month interest-free payment plan. It's only $338. Now we have a first call special, buy now bonus. If you get it today, Miss Hannah, what I can do for free is I can let you pick any $200 of accessories you want from our gifts and accessories book, and you can pick whatever you want up to 200 bucks. So I wouldn't be doing my job today if I didn't ask you this question. Do you want to go and get the kitchen system today and get the $200 worth of free stuff? So stop. If they say yes, you didn't sell 1212. What did you sell? So I just increased your order by 300 bucks. So your starting will you buy is now $300 higher, which means if they say no 5 or 6 times, what is also higher? Your average order is now $600. You're welcome. Okay. But if they say no, that's okay, because you can just go down one and say, Mrs. Jones, tell you what, our next option is you could remove one or the other. Kitchen tools or the shears. Let's take that price out. Here's the new price. It's cheaper. Would you like that one? And I can still give you the free stuff. No? Okay. How about this? If you want, we can do just the knives to get started. It's the homemaker. It just gets you in and out of the kitchen. Do you want to just start with the knives? And I had so many customers go, yeah, honey, we're not ready to really get a lot. Let's just get the knives for now. Let's start with that small starter dinky homemaker set, because that's how it feels when I'm knocking off all these options. Okay, we'll just get the knives to help. Because it's not a matter if they can afford it. 1212 on a payment plan is $260 a month. They can afford it. If someone can't genuinely afford $260 a month, they're not really a Mac customer. Like genuinely, not because they have buyer's remorse or they're mad that they have to pay tuition, meaning like they don't have it in their funds and they would lose their house or not have a place to live. That's not really a Cutco customer. So when we drop down, I just want you to start here so that you'll end higher. My smallest set, like if I had a customer that said no 5 or 6 times, I would end up at an essentials or a galley. And if they got like 3 to 5 pieces, they felt like they were just buying a piece for me. I was like, oh, honey, you know what? We can just get this to just help you out. Does it get you credit if we get 5 pieces? But I still felt good about it. Why? Because I wanted to make sure they got a set. Because that's my big thing. It's not so much about making more CPM money. For me, it was, if I don't get the customer set, you guys already know. If I don't get the customer set, I did a lousy job because one knife doesn't do it. One knife literally does not cut it. Right? One knife doesn't cut it for them in the kitchen if they're cooking. So does everyone understand what we did? We just started higher so that we what? That we end higher. Later on, if you get invited to the 10K Alliance meeting, if you're interested, next week, I'm going to show you how to start with these 3 even higher than the kitchen system. And then in July, for the people who show me that they can sell consistently, we actually have a workshop on how to sell the whole kitchen. And that's about a $7,000 or $8,000, $6,000 to $8,000 order. That's everything. So if you know someone who either money is no issue, that's the easy one, right? If money is no issue, then that's a no-brainer kitchen. Also, a kitchen is for someone who, when they cook, they only want to work with the best stuff. Or 3, someone who has had Cutco and wants to upgrade. That's a Cutco kitchen. Your manager can also walk you through that. Okay, any questions? So right here, this is a kitchen system plus 8. All that is, in the kitchen system plus 8, one more time, is the homemaker plus 8 with the kitchen tool set and the superiors combined into one price. The payment plan, this one is on 6%, this was on 7%, the tax. This is the basic, it's the same set, we just did the homemaker basic. This is 6%, oh, that's right, it's 6% is 281, 7% is 284.
So when do we need 7%?
If you're in, that's Miami-Dade tax. 7% Miami-Dade. What I always recommend in South Florida, because if you go to different counties, I always give the higher 7%. It's always easier, Grant, to say, Mr. Jones, actually it's cheaper. Sorry, sales tax is cheaper here. Any questions?
The KTS is just without table knives. Basic, the basic.
Yeah, because there's no table knives, that's it.
That includes the kitchen system.
How many of you learned the B block special, where you can give the table knives for free? You guys learned that yet? Okay. So the way I start, so from here on out, no one who's attended this meeting should ever close on 1212 ever again. Your lowest price is 1567, and you can always drop, but always start with 1567. Okay. So we'll do kitchen system plus 8. That's my first set, 1567. Then if they say no, I offer I call it the mini kitchen system plus 8, which is minus the kitchen tool set. Whatever that price is, I don't have it off the top of my head. Then if they still say no, I say you can get the starter knives, which is just the homemaker. It's $12.12. Notice I say starter knives, so how do they feel about that set? Yeah, they're not intimidated, it's an easy set. If they still say no, I do the B-Block special, which is where I give the homemaker plus 8, which is normally $12.12, for a discounted price of $9.63. I give it for the basic price, and you just give the table knives free. If they still say no, then I go to the galley. If they still say no, then I show the essentials. So when they say no 5 or 6 times for me, I'm still selling $500 to $700, not $300. Cool.
So you know how in the script it says like homemakers are most popular set, like all this stuff like that. So it mentions at the beginning.
The homemaker plus 8, Mr. Grant, and Miss Hannah is our most popular set. It's got all the knives you need for people who cook an average of 2 to 4 times a week. It's part of what we call our kitchen system. It is our most popular set. It's part of the kitchen system. And then you present the
Can we also drop a little bit like it is it is one of the starter sets for most families? Or not even?
The answer is when you're advanced, absolutely. Like this is like one of our starter sets because it gets you in and out of the kitchen. And it comes in our kitchen system, which is our most basic set. Has the kitchen tools, the shears, and the homemaker plus 8. Yes.
So the B block that's the homemaker plus 8 just with the table knives.
For free, yep. And if you're not sure to do that, just talk to your manager. It's pretty easy.
Well, I'll just talk to you.
Okay. Like in terms of writing this up,
And would they also get the block with the knives?
it doesn't change what they get, it just changes the price. You're just using your point. This is from Advanced Training 1. You're just using your points to give away the table knives for free, to lower the price. Yeah. Okay, so this plus using my points to get recommendations, that's how I made a whole summer of Cutco. That's how I made a whole entire summer of that, and I also followed all the phone times, and I wasn't chicken to call my acquaintance list. If I kind of knew them or knew of them sort of, I put them on my list, I used the right approach, and I always made sure I called them. Okay, so let's do me a favor, let's go back, go through your notes. I'd like to know your biggest 2 to 5 tips. Biggest 2, top 2 tips, man, this is what I needed. These 2 really helped me. And we'll just go quickly, we'll start when you're ready. When you're ready, just give me your top 2 tips. Grant, we'll start with you.
Starting higher and using your points for recommendations.
Points for recommendations, yep. Good.
Number 4 and
Yeah, how to start the presentation, open, close, and then
4 questions.
4 questions before recommendations.
Mine are the same as Grant's.
Good, okay.
I'm excited to get to use the complete version.
Yeah. Yeah, once you do it. And here's, okay, I know some of you are thinking, well, I know a couple of complete customers. Raise your hand if you're like, I know some people that either their kitchen is like their second, it's like their second marriage, almost. It's like, I have my husband and then my kitchen, because all I do is cook. I'm the best in the family. I call those top chef moms, okay, or entertainment moms. If you have a customer like that, talk to your manager before you go into that appointment, and they'll give you some things to do to set up a potential kitchen sale. Or if you have a customer that buys a complete no problem, look, I want that one, sure, and they didn't budge on the price, they love the knives, then they should at least hear about the kitchen. Because if they like it that much, they might want to do kitchen across the board. Did anyone have like an easy complete sale? Oh yeah, talk to your manager, maybe. Okay, other takeaways, top 2. But it's Sophia, right? Go ahead, Sophia.
The building was hard and we needed the points for
Okay, good. Brandon.
Say the leapfrog.
Okay, good. I like the leapfrog because there were times that even though I did all the right phone time and I did the right approach, I still had some gaps that I wasn't foreseeing. Okay. Good. I want to see that. Next time I see all of you, I'd like to see your version of it. It can be colored. Up to you. Okay. Ask to see your manager's scholarship binder. They'll show you theirs. And it's funny because ask to see Luke's, right? Or ask to see Andrew's. Everyone's scholarship binder looks like the manager. Like you can tell, like, oh, that's Luke's, or it's really funny. But if you have a guy who's like not art, like Luke's not really artsy, so his book's not very artsy. But it's awful. You get the, yeah, it is bad. Mine's worse. Yeah. Other takeaways, top 2. 1 or 2.
How to go from a high price now that we have the system.
Yep.
And definitely how to give away prices for recommendations.
Good. Yeah. Okay, let's do this. Let's wrap up. I want to talk about, and I'll give you a couple of thoughts, and then we're out of here. In fact, we're going to get out a little bit early because you guys did such a great job. I'll leave it open for some Q&A at the end since we have some extra time. How is this information helpful? Right? Some light bulbs go off? Well, here's what I'll say. I want to bring it back full circle. These tips are exciting if you use them. So let me give you like 10 keys real quick that I think will help you as you leave this meeting. My first key, number 1, is to implement as soon as possible. However, only implement 2 to 3 at a time. The key is not to go to your next presentation and try to do this whole meeting on your customer, because both theirs and your heads will explode, and you'll probably get a 0 sale. What I recommend to start with, if you're going to pick 3 right away, I would definitely say the open and close opening of the presentation. Definitely start with that. Okay. The recommendation phrase, if you really like me, recommend me. If not, you don't have to. Okay. And then from there, kitchen system. I would say those are the 3 you want to start putting in right away. Then from there, the next one, maybe it's using points to get more recommendations. Maybe it's something with the leapfrog. That's the first thought. Number 2, I would write this word for word, be at SC1. You've heard this before. Be at the conference, SC1. Summer Conference 1, and I'll put the dates here. Summer Conference 1, we call it FC's Finest. This is the event of all events. This is where the best of the best sellers, the best of the best reps, and all of our new people come together for a high-powered instructional, motivational, and directional conference that in that one day of conference will set you off to the best summer possible. In fact, our best reps always are intended or have attended SC1. This is a chance for you to meet the people who have sold the most Cutco. In fact, for the mainland, I have recruited the services of one of the most prolific sellers in the history of our company. His name is Andy Janti. He's from the South Miami office. He's also from this office. And he's over $2.1 million in Cutco sales. His average order is like $1,500, $2,000. When someone has it, the average order is $900. When they have it already. When you know, oh, I already have everything, he still sells about $1,000. He doesn't have to do anything, and he has enough customers that call back just for holidays to sell about $50,000 a year by not doing anything other than sending an email and just to remind them that it's holiday time. Like, he's that many customers. And he's going to be teaching some excellent sales tips at the conference if you're invited. I will be there to give some instruction. Our branch managers, Andrew, Luke, all of them have been to SC1 before. And the key is make sure you get invited, because this conference is also a chance for you to learn how to get into Leadership Academy. This conference is for you to set up your summer. If you really want the best experience, you got to get invited to SC1. You want to make the most money, you want to go towards a 5-figure club income, you got to get to SC1. If you're looking to win a national scholarship, you got to be at SC1. If you want to work part-time and make full-time, you got to be at SC1. So you really have to be at SC1. So here's some pictures from past SC1s, from our different conferences. If you notice, there's a lot of instruction. Here, next picture. Okay. Our mainland event's going to be here in Broward County, actually in Plantation, right by the Sheraton in Plantation. So it's going to be a local event. The other event, the other one's going to be in Puerto Rico, and it's going to be in the Doubletree Hotel in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Okay. So that's the first thing. So how do you get invited? Well, you have to really work hard and show that you have what it takes, show that you have the right attitude. But another way to get invited is make sure that you have an invitation from the division manager. So I'm pleased to say that we're able to, because of who is invited to this meeting, as of today, the group here at the SLDM, and if you're watching online, you guys are officially invited to SC1. So you can tell your manager, and if your manager tells you tomorrow, we're looking to invite people to SC1, you have my official invitation. In fact, I would text your manager as soon as you get home and let them know, hey, I just got invited to SC1. And what to do, oh, and by the way, 0 cost. Okay, we rented a whole hotel. There's about $1,000 in fees and paperwork. I'm taking care of the fees because I know what will happen when you come to the event. So the only thing you need is your attention, your energy, and your notebook, and that will set you off. So officially, so you can congratulate your partner, I guess. How much time?
Thank you.
Okay. Second thought, or third is ask about key staff and alliance. Ask about key staff and alliance. Okay. Our key staff program, again, are the people who get the most attention, the VIP of each team. Here's what's great. If you just started this past Saturday or last week, your office is usually just open. They don't really have anyone on the team yet. So they're going to build around you. Now is a good time, and early is a really good time to be part of the office because you get the most attention right away. So ask, hey, Karina. Ask, hey, Andrew. Hey, Luke. Hey, Pal. Walk before you walk out of here. Say, hey, Pal, how can I get on key staff, and how do I get on the alliance? The alliance, that's my next thing. What I'm doing is I'm asking managers who are people that want to go really big for the SC1 push. Who are people that want to go for $10,000 in sales or more. If you missed the big fast start, this is a chance for redemption. If you're in your fast start, this is a great way to finish your fast start strong and then surge into the summer. And these are the people who usually go into our 5-figure club. So we have a contest starting at the end of the month called SC1 Push. And I want to share with you some of the prizes. The reason I'm talking about the alliance is because I'm going to run a special training for the people that want to go for these big levels. So the contest period starts at the end of the month. You can write down May 29th. Monday, May 29th is when the contest starts, and it ends on June 14th. Ends on June 14th. In Puerto Rico, it starts 2 weeks later. Okay, so it'll start 2 weeks later. It'll start on the 13th, I believe. And here are the levels of prizes, and you guys are getting a sneak peek because no one else knows this until tomorrow night. So you guys get a sneak peek. Sell $3,000, you're going to get some on-stage recognition in front of the entire Florida Caribbean division. You'll be able to give your sales report. Part of it for pride. The other part is to be able to put in your resume that I competed for a 2-week national sales competition, and I ranked high enough to give my report. At $5,000, you're going to get invited to my champion's reception. I'm throwing a little after party, if you will, after the conference, and anyone that sells over $5,000, I want to know who those people are. I want to get more time with them. I want these people to mix and mingle, because these are the people in my mind that are going to be competing for spots for Leadership Academy. These are our 30-30 competitors. These are people who are going to be in a 5-figure club. So I always like to get high performers with other high performers. Plus, I like to feed people. I was raised in a family where you want to get people in a good mood. You want to bring people together, put food on the table, and very quickly that food becomes a talking point. So we're going to go out for some wings and some food afterwards. So make sure you're there. If you like advancing, you're in the world of business. If you're looking at accelerating, there's a really great saying in the real world that says it's not what you know,
Who you know.
it's who you know. So it's all about networking. That's the key phrase. So this is a great opportunity to network and meet the best of the best. Our top sellers, our managers will all be there. So that's a $5,000 for the contest. You sell $7,500, you get those 2 levels, and you also can qualify for a K-Bar Explorer. At $10,000, this is great for those of you that missed your VIP night and didn't hit it. You have a redemption. You can do it again. And we're going to give away another chance for a VIP night that I'm going to run. If you already are in your fast start, and I think of Janine and Kayla specifically, and it looks like you guys are going to sell $10,000 anyway, I throw a little extra kicker, and I throw in a gift certificate for a massage if you hit it twice. So if you hit your fast start and this contest, you get a little extra kicker. At $15,000, we're going to increase your sample kit by giving you a 5-piece sheet and knife set. At $20,000 for the push, and I believe we have a couple people that'll be shooting for that. We're going to give away 16 gigabyte iPad Mini 4. Really cool. And then if you break the record, and we don't know if we have any big timers going for the record, it's 28,013. You will get all those prizes plus your choice of either accomplished cookware set, retail value of just under $2,000, or a 50-inch flat screen television. Cool. So just for doing your job, just for working hard. Does anyone already have something in sight, in mind, that they're going to go for? I can tell you what that K-bar is. Also, for those of you that are competitive, or you already know, hey, I don't know if I'm going to be here forever, but I do know I want to make a statement. I do know I want to get into that leadership academy. Or I do know I want to make a good impression. We also have a trophy competition for the top actual sales for the contest. I apologize, it's May 30th. It's May 30th. Yeah, I said May 29th by accident. So the top 7 reps will win a trophy. Our top 3 branch offices, and if you come from a branch office, which is Luke, which is Andrew, Kayla, John, Port Charlotte with Anthony and Miss Daniela over in Naples. And there's a competition for the top 3 sales in those offices, and there's a big competition between those guys. And then our top 2 district offices, which would be against Karina's office, Gavin's office, and here in the pilot on the mainland. So that's something. I'm giving you these sheets not just for you, but you can also put this somewhere. Where would you put this? In the beginning of the book when you do what part of the presentation? Your goals and your rapport, and you can get people tied into your scholarship and to your goals. People will help you out more. If I'm going to buy a homemaker no matter what, I would probably buy a signature if I'm more compelled to support Kayla in her trophy or her chance to move into management or her scholarship. I guess that's for you. Questions or comments? Okay. Also, one thing you can add to your blue book, if you're excited about progressing into it and having advancement opportunities, I'm going to give you a sheet you can also put into your blue book to talk about management with the customer. You're welcome. Right now, what I'd like you to do is just circle the top 1 or 2 that get you most excited as of right now. It's not binding or anything like that. I just want to know, will you be able to share that with your customers? What are the top 1 or 2 that get you excited? Make sure you share that. If it's, hey, I'd like to run a branch office next year, and I think that'd be great for my resume. If it's, hey, I'd just like to be an assistant manager, so forth and so forth. Okay. Yeah. My next point before we wrap up, number 4, is have a positive attitude. I know you've heard that before, but I really would like you to write down, have a positive attitude. I always say this for our Cutco team here in Fort Lauderdale, but the key is to have moderate, mature business perspective. You can't get too high on the high, but also what? Yeah, so when you have a really big day is when you have all sales, 0 no sales, you're only selling sets, customers give you tons of recommendations, and it feels great to be here. Don't get so hyped and think, oh, it's always going to be like this, because that's not reality. Reality is it's a numbers game. But then when it gets slow, don't quit mentally, because then things start to unravel. I think it's really important to have that. Just to prove my point with positive expectation, you should expect to do well. Not only are you learning and getting training as we speak, you represent an amazing product. We had a student from our Gainesville office, and she was really, really, really shy and didn't have a lot of confidence. And she was just having a hard time selling. So her mom said, oh, your aunt Sheila wants to see the product. She's already going to buy the homemaker, but she's just going to give you a hard time on purpose for practice. Oh, okay. So she goes and she sells a bigger set than the homemaker. And she says, oh, thanks, Aunt Sheila. Mom said you were going to give me a hard time, but thanks for going through that. Don said, what the heck are you talking about? His mom said you were going to get this anyway. And she goes, I didn't even want to see this darn presentation. But these knives are just so awesome, and you did such a nice job. What's the lesson? Why did she sell it? Because she thought it was already going to happen. So what kind of presentation came across there? Positive and expecting. So think of it that way. Also, for your resume, this is the letter. When you sell $5,000 in sales and come to my champions reception for SC1, this is the letter that you'll get. It'll be hand-signed by our region manager. This one's from Omar Vive, our former region manager, but our current one, Mr. Scott Dennis, will give you a letter, and that's going to look fantastic on your resume as well. So keep that in mind. Number 5 or 6, I can't remember which one it is. 5 is have pride in what you do. Okay. Have pride in what you do. I tell a really cool story about a friend of mine who wanted to buy his dream car. He's with Cutco. He's actually the division manager at Atlanta. His dream car is a Porsche 911 C4S. That's a very, very fast car. That's what it is. And he walked into the dealership and they said, "Sir, can I help you?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm here to buy a car." And the guy said, "Oh, I can't help you." I said, "I'm sorry, let me say it again. I'm here at the Porsche dealership. He said, "I'm here to buy a car." And the salesman said, "I can't help you. I'm sorry." So my colleague, friend, irritated, said, "I don't think you understand. I'm not sure what you're trying to do, but I'm here to buy a car." And the salesman smiled. He looks at all the Porsches around. He says, "Sir, if you're here to buy a car, I can't help you. But if you want to buy a Porsche, we can sell you a Porsche." And he goes, right? I know it. And he ended up getting the car. And he said, there's nothing like walking away with a product where you feel like, I didn't just buy a product, I bought the product. And when you feel good and you really believe in your car that way or your product, how do you speak about it? Well, yeah, so when someone says, for example, "Oh, what are you doing?" "Oh, I'm selling knives for the summer." If you say it like that, A, I don't think you get your friends and you don't go to Mexico. But B, then I can tell someone doesn't believe in the job. If you ask Luke, if you ask Kayla, if you ask John, if you ask Karina, if you ask Pal, what do you do? There's a whole different answer. And if you ask about the product, they're just so proud. So number one, be proud of the product, but also, I would say, recommend your friends. I mean, we have this really cool contest. You guys know about the contest already, right? And some of these are the smaller prizes. It's funny. I think is this the actual coaster, or that's just the?
It's just the key.
Oh, it's the key.
The Yeti itself. That's a key.
Okay, so this is like a koozie where you put your beverages to keep them cold. And it's a small gift, but it's the Cutco of koozies. Yeah, you can't beat it. Launch 4, you get a Dick's Sporting Good or Sunglass Hut gift certificate. Launch 6, you get a flat screen television or the Yeti Tundra. And then who remembers how many it takes to get to the trip? Yeah, all you have to do is get 8 friends on the team in the next 5-6 weeks, I believe. You're going to join me, you're going to join Luke, you're going to join Andrew. I'd love to see all of you in Mexico, and it's not that hard. In fact, I was talking to Kaylee yesterday. She already has 6 or 7 coming in this week for interviews.
I have 29.
You have 29. Now keep in mind, they're not all going to show. Someone's going to have a family emergency. Someone's going to say, "Oh, well, I don't think I can do the job. I talked to my mom." That's where you come into play. And that's where your pride in the job. "Oh, no, it's not selling knives. You're selling Cutco. Oh, it's not just a knife job. This is what you can get from it." In fact, I would say Luke, all of his friends, when he recommended them, not a single one of his friends would come in for an interview. Ask him about it. But then when he explained it the right way, and he said, "Look, this is what I'm getting. This is what my resume looks like. This is what my dad," and his dad's pretty up there in the vocal community. "So this is why my dad made me do this job. When I graduate and become a wholesaler, this is how this is going to help me be the #1 candidate for that." Oh, next thing you know, we've got 10 of his friends on the team like last summer, just like that. So recommend friends to the team. Last few tips here is get on the Alliance. And I want to cover the Alliance real quick. We have a special Alliance meeting. The Alliance meeting is this coming Monday for mainland. And then for La Isla, we'll give out the dates later. For mainland, it's this coming Monday, here back at this office from 4 to 8 p.m. The Alliance training session. It's for anyone that wants to go for a big SC1 push period. And what it is I'm actually inviting Andy Janti, that $2 million sales rep, and a couple of our full-time Cutco sales professionals. And we're going to do a high-powered instruction to teach those students to sell and hit big numbers for the push period. You have to be invited, and you have to be on the Alliance. The Alliance is a special group that's going to work hard for 14 days straight, and all they're going to do is work towards hitting the highest numbers And these are the groups of people that usually in each office end up making the most money, getting the most experience. So as soon as you get home, as soon as you leave here, I want you to text your manager. Hey, I just got invited to, in fact, I would say, here's what you text your manager. Okay? I just got invited to SC1, because that's a big deal and they don't know that I'm inviting you. Okay, but here's my philosophy. I know that they wouldn't send you unless it was a good reason. So that's why you're here. Number two, how do I get invited to key staff? And ask about what it means to be part of the 10K Alliance. Doesn't mean you're on it, doesn't mean you have to do it. Just ask them, hey, Luke, what can I do to get on key staff? And what's this alliance about? I think I want to hear about it. Worst case scenario, you say, you know, I'm done with my fast start. I'm going to work part-time or full-time. Best case scenario, I'm going to keep working full-time, but I'm going to make big time this summer. Or I really want to get into Leadership Academy, and so forth and so forth. I also want to wrap up. We have actually a reminder. We're going to be promoting 30 to 50 assistant managers by the conference. So if you're into advancement and you see yourself as maybe being a part of an office staff, even as quickly as 2 or 3 weeks from now, ask your manager about getting promoted to an assistant manager. It's going to be a big ceremony. It's a huge deal because it means you just started, but you're already starting to dabble into the management training program, which, by the way, for sure gives you dibs on Leadership Academy interviews for the fall. We do acceptances at the middle of August before you go back to school or start your college career. We're able to give you acceptances for Leadership Academy, and the interviews happen at the end of July. But if you're promoted to an assistant manager by SC1, it gives your first calls, first dibs for those interviews. And I want to do a little special recognition. We actually have an individual who we are officially promoting to assistant manager. I actually spoke to their manager this morning, and I wanted to recognize Brandon. We're going to be giving you an official assistant manager promotion before SC1, because I know that you don't know this, but Karina has been talking about you every day. She's been like your sports agent. She has called me bordering annoying, every day for the past 6 days. And she says, I know this guy is new. I know he hasn't shown it recently as much, but I want to recognize Brandon, who's officially getting promoted to assistant today. So tell her surprise on that one. Yeah, congratulations. Yeah, I know. Nice job. Thank you. So get personal recruits. And my last thing is get on Jeff's radar. I'm going to write that down. Get on Jeff's radar. 30-30 is what I want you all to be shooting for. Some of you are going to hit it pretty soon, like as in this fast start or next couple of days. At the end of the summer, we give away the FC hat as a symbol of you earning that position. So make sure you're working hard. Looks great on your resume, and it's usually a sign of someone getting into Leadership Academy. And I want to end, of course, like I end most of my meetings, with a cool quick contest. Can we do that? Just for this group, only for the 12 of you, and then everyone in Puerto Rico and Virgin Islands. So I'm going to give you my phone number. Do not distribute this to everyone who gets the job or your friends, because just because you have my number, I don't want everyone to have my number. If your managers have told you to text me before, I've gotten text messages from several of you, that is like the indirect way of your manager saying it's okay, you have permission. Meaning I trust your managers to give my phone number to you. If you don't have it, that's the number. I want all the hot updates. I want to know, hey Jeff, I left your meeting and here's what's been happening since. Or here's what I sold tonight after the meeting. I sold my first kitchen system. I sold my first complete system. I sold a kitchen. I got 30 recommendations on a customer that said they didn't want to give me any in the beginning. I mean, I want those hot updates because it's going to keep you on my radar. So when it comes down, there's 12. So there's a total of about 25 people participating in this meeting, virtually and live. Okay? The next 3 of these are going to have an average of 70 people. So it's going to get very big very fast. It's very easy for someone to fall out of my radar. It's great meeting you now, but when it's 70 a week for the next 3 or 4 weeks, it's very quickly to kind of get lost. So this keeps you on my radar when it comes to advancement opportunities, to Leadership Academy, to interviews with me. So I want to do a quick contest. So the first person who leaves here and sells a kitchen system, right, or higher, could be a signature, complete, can be the whole book. Of course, we wouldn't stop it. So anyone that sells a kitchen system or higher, text me right away. Hey, this is Diego from the, and put your office, Metro Miami office. I just sold a signature leaving your meeting. And the first person to get it, I'll give you a choice of 2 prizes. I'll either give you a sponsorship right away. What's the sponsorship? Yeah, I will just get you a sponsorship of whatever you want. I'll write it and send it to your house. Or I will drive to your territory where you live in your office area, and I'll take you to coffee or lunch, and you can have an hour and a half of as many cut-cook questions as you want, and I'll cater a one-on-one training like this, but just for you. I would take the training, and you get fed. But I wouldn't be offended if you took the world's finest couple too, trust me. Okay? So that means mainland, that means Puerto Rico too. I'm flying to Puerto Rico multiple times, so I have no problem doing that. Cool? But you gotta be the first one. There are gonna be a lot of sales, so text me. And just so you're aware with my texting, I don't always check it right away, but I will see it for sure. If I don't respond, just know that usually after 8 or 9 p.m., my phone's usually off and in my car. I keep it in my car. And Sundays, you probably won't get any response, usually on Sundays. But I will get back to you, and I always see them, and it always goes into that little 8-player checklist that I talked about. And the more I talk to you, when I get to 120 people that want to get an interview for Leadership Academy, and it's down to between Hannah and some new girl or new guy. And they have the same sales. And they're both great people, and I love them both. But if I've been texting with Hannah all summer, I'm going to pick Hannah because I know her better. I've got better communication. Cool? Yeah. Awesome. I appreciate your time. You guys have been awesome. We're getting out about 15 minutes early. Thank you. So you guys have my number. Text or call or for you guys in Fort Lauderdale. Go see Pal right now. You got invited to SC1. They'll tell you how to register tonight. Key staff and 10K Alliance. Get some rest or go get them tonight. Have an awesome selling day, guys. Thank you. In Puerto Rico, keep me posted. Hefechino. See you guys.